We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Hello, one. Hello, all. It's been a while. I forgot how to do this. That's how long it's been. I come to you as used to be as CP.
And I'm still Jaime Infuego, the horror show, and Infuegotainment.
I think I'm Lindsay. I might be Linzo. A friend of mine called me Lonzoy all the time. I don't really know who I am. There's an L followed by some E's somewhere. My YouTube channel is My 2 Cents of Nonsense. And I'm so happy. What's up, guys?
Yeah. I'm Ron Burgundy.
And Chauncey, I kind of flung this on everybody very last notice. So Chauncey's preoccupied. So, you know, no, we love you, Chauncey. We miss you. She couldn't make it. You know, just everything's fine. It's just she couldn't make it. That's all. That's all. So, you guys do anything in the last couple of months or what?
I slept from like September to December.
I wish I could have done that.
Yeah, it was a weird holiday season. Neither of my brothers got to come down because of travel restrictions still being kind of in place. But watch Spider-Man a couple times, and that still seems to be the box office king. Although Bruce Wayne is kind of giving him a run for his money, at least a little bit. So.
All right, Fuego, your check's in the mail. That's a nice little segue there. We'll go ahead and get to it. Pardon the slip up there. Ghostbusters Afterlife made way more than $44. That should be an M. 4 people went and saw Ghostbusters.
Funny story. Scarlett Johansson got her SAG card for some little tiny movie that like played in one theater called like Zizix or something like that. I think it made literally $28, but it qualified her to be in SAG or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Naomi Watts for like the 4th Children of the Corn movie. I think it was like her first starring role, and that was one that got her credentials. She was the star, and she made like $4,000, for being in most of the film. So there you
go. Matrix Resurrections brought in $38 million. However, that was a dual release that was on HBO Max if you had it. So interesting little caveat. Spider-Man No Way Home just said, "Hi, I'm going to break every record there is," and made $260 million in December. And then a couple of weeks back, we had the Uncharted movie, which was $44 million. And just over this past weekend, The Batman made $129 million. So, theaters are back, but it seems like people are only really going out for really big stuff.
Yeah,
like even
more releases for sure.
Yeah, even Ghostbusters is kind of for an opening weekend. That's kind of okay. And Resident
I
Evil.
did go up for Cyrano though, to see Dinklage, doing his thing, and I enjoyed it. That's a very good movie.
One more time.
Cyrano, the one with Peter Dinklage, that is retelling I believe it's a French story from the 1800s, and it's
the version.
Yeah. So if you've seen Roxanne, which was the one with Steve Martin, it's a tale that's been done so many times about the forlorn lover who is not handsome enough, and so he feeds his words to the better looking person who is able to capture the affections, and it's tremendously done. The songs, which are done by The National, which is a band if I'm not mistaken, are really good, beautifully shot. Definitely recommend that one. Not getting any box office love. So
I think in the awkward state that the theater business has been in, people have been more eager. Like I've always wondered if that going to the video store experience will ever have some sort of some replication of that feeling ever again. And we kind of had it, or we're kind of experiencing it. There's stuff on VOD right now that there's not a chance in hell I would have picked up on if I was watching, I don't know, Jurassic Furious 7, whatever.
Phase 6 was good though.
The one I didn't put up there, and Lindsay, I wanted to ask you about this because we'll get to Uncharted for a second. But did you see the Resident Evil Raccoon City movie?
I did.
Okay. As far as video game movies are concerned, how did you feel about that?
I until I saw Arcane, Netflix's Arcane, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was my favorite thing adapted from a video game.
I agree. I read that people were upset that it was too much of both 1 and 2, but I'd rather have some of either and just squish it than, I don't know, Mila Jovovich nude in a shower. As tough a decision as that is, it felt very Resident Evil, and another movie that hasn't made too much money, but we'll see. We'll see.
No, honestly, I was just like really. I went in like kind of just liking the trailer for Raccoon City, just being like, oh, that's fun. That's a song that doesn't get a lot of attention. Okay, movie. All right. And then I went in and just like, and then like the first 5 minutes, because I've barely played the first 2 Resident Evil games. I know 4 and on, but I've kind of just messed around here and there with the first 2. So like I had no idea what that like spooky girl in like an orphanage storyline was.
Yeah, that was completely new. That was like in the beginning. I swear, for the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this isn't the movie. Something else is on. What is this?
No, I thought I was in the wrong theater, but I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. So I'll see where this is going. I'll just be see Resident Evil another day. This is kind of cool too. But
Orphanage. I don't remember no orphanage in the Resident Evil game. Did you see it, Fuego?
Yeah, of course I did. I had issues with it. It felt very rushed to me, very condensed. The same stuff that you were just mentioning. As far as just very much picking and choosing, trying to be a little bit more faithful and succeeding at times. Very much more so a horror film than the action centric sort of vibe that we got with all of the other stuff. So I appreciated the mood and the vibe of it, and I feel like I'm going to be coming back to those words because that's kind of how I felt about Batman.
The theme of the night.
Yeah. But I like Claire Redfield, the actress who played her, and I don't know.
Mia something like that.
I think so.
I'll look her up, but yeah, she's good. I like her too.
Yeah, and also dude who played Wesker, who we've seen in Umbrella Academy. I thought he was good. Different take on the character, actually.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of the video games like me. So it's a little bit more sympathetic, I guess.
Yeah. I was just going to say, in the video games, he's more of a betrayer dick. In this one, he's more like, dude, I'm broke.
Yeah, the situation. But Johannes Roberts, I've been kind of an apologist of his for a while. He doesn't make amazing films, but he's a very solid, consistent horror director. Whether it's the shark movie that he made, and then The Other Side of the Door, and a few others. He is consistent in just not making trash, and I watch a lot of trash being on the horror show, and all of the different VOD things and whatever else it may be, as opposed to the more highly esteemed, theatrical stuff. So yeah.
Oh, Mary, that's true. Tiered pricing for movies, charging higher prices for big films.
Yeah, Batman was charging an extra $1.50 here in Arizona at AMC.
Only $1.50.
Only $1.50. I hear it's more elsewhere.
It swung from as low as $13.50 here to $20.50, depending on what time.
Yeah, thankfully, since I still have my A list, I didn't have to worry about that. So if I'm getting Dolby or IMAX or whatever, that was one that we had, I think, a press for the Thursday before, but we were seeing a film from some friends of ours who did a little indie horror movie called,
that's cool.
Called Dr. Seville's Horror Show. And so we were at that screening instead. And when I saw it separate.
Leave it to AMC to kind of cash in on whatever that internet nerd bro thing was where they all screwed over some hedge fund guys. And like apparently, AMC stock was worth way more than it should have been. This is halfway through the pandemic, and what did they do with all that extra capital? They're just doing their best to really put the movie theater business out of business. Like, dude.
Yeah, because they were in the red. I mean,
Yeah.
in the middle of the pandemic, right? They were like restructuring bankruptcy possibilities
Yeah.
and things like that. So
I mean,
ArcLight out here in Los Angeles. I don't know how familiar you guys are. That's always been like a very high scale kind of theater chain. And by high scale, I mean they're like $2 to $3 more tickets, and they have very, very nice fancy screens that never have any smudges on them. And there's always someone who like introduces the movie beforehand. So not that fancy, but they do put in the extra legwork, and they're just gone. Like they used to own the Cinedome and the Cinerama Dome downtown,
right.
and gone, and someone else bought it out and everything. And and they're talking in the chat about like those bump up in prices for the tickets. I didn't even think about it until afterwards, because I had the I'm AMC A-list, but I went with a buddy, and his ticket was like $20. They were both sitting there going like, "Damn!" But then afterwards we remembered
it's so dangerous. Like, you know. Yeah, again, I'll show these numbers again. You know, Ghostbusters, $44. See what happens. The Matrix should have killed at the movie theater.
Yeah, although that was the whole dual release, though, that we were so skeptical about when it was happening. And if I'm not mistaken, this new Batman film is the first Warner Brothers that is not a dual release since they initially introduced that format.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they're quietly taking steps backwards away from the dual release, the quick format, but they are still pretty fast on.
I am still an apologist for the lunacy of that new Matrix movie. I enjoyed it.
I'm right there with you, man. Like there's parts of it that I'm like, I don't know about this, but there's other parts of it that I'm like, yeah, I know about this. This is great right here. Like I think they could have cut the entire like prologue, I guess it is, or not at least heavily trimmed down the prologue before Keanu shows up, because everything before that I was kind of like not jiving with, but once that was over with, it sucked me in and I was in.
What was it, Lana Wachowski that directed that one?
Yes.
I couldn't help but feel like that movie had a lot of projection in it,
like rear projection.
You know, the theater, they projected the image on the screen. No, but there was a lot of who am I, different experiences through different people type thing, and I just listen. I have no idea what it's like to be a trans or even have thoughts like that. But there was moments during that movie I was like, oh, this could be deeper than just what I'm looking at. I'm wondering if, I mean, Cloud Atlas is another thing where I think the Wachowskis did that, but is another thing. People over time, as different people, different genders, it was interesting. I'm not saying that Keanu, it was a different gender or anything. There's just moments of the Matrix where it. Not everybody's the same, and it was an interesting. I don't know. I found it interesting. Hey, Bob. Bob says there was absolutely that. Thank you. See, Bob, I got your email. We shouldn't have you here. Should. Yeah, but I guess the blank stares that you guys have for me. You guys didn't get that at all.
No, and that's the thing. There's sometimes subtext that goes like right over my head in that particular case. But with you mentioning it, I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, not to spoil who Doogie Howser plays in this, or some of the other altered interpretations and stuff. Yeah, I can definitely understand how that could have been a thing that was deliberate. So.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Bro, I was just gonna say like the Wachowskis are always like, even when before they became trans, or I guess they're always. I'm terrible, but anyway, like the Matrix is all about losing your humanity and becoming a battery, and but who are you inside? Not who are you outside. Your inside is projected onto your outside when you're inside the Matrix, and then you have Cloud Atlas. That's all about how the soul progresses over lifetimes, and so like one life you're a man, one life you're a woman, one life you're white, one life you're black,
Right.
and then they explore that even further in Jupiter Ascending, where it's like you can just be reincarnated as essentially
dog
the
people
exact same
in that
person.
too.
And dog people too. Yeah.
I really I'm an apologist for Jupiter Ascending.
I'm right there with you, man. I will apologize for anything the Wachowskis do, or at least no, I shouldn't say that. Maybe the next movie will come out and it's pro-child murder. I doubt it.
As much as people put The Matrix at the top, Bound is my favorite Wachowskis film.
I need to see that. I've never seen that one.
Really?
Yeah. No, it is sexy time, as those who are familiar know. But V for Vendetta, man, that might be my personal favorite.
That's up there.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a hound dog, which I do that anyway. But Bound is notoriously famous for a lesbian scene between Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon. But to be a technical piece of garbage, the most beautifully shot sex scene I've ever seen. Like I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, and I don't know what rig they used, because you start from outside the room and then we're swinging around their body and back up their feet. It's real. Like, for the life of me, I'm wondering if it's just a jib that or if it's handheld, it's done masterfully.
Did they do the Matrix shot where there's like 500 DSLRs?
It probably could have been that, yeah.
No, but and Ben in the chat, just you have to throw it out there. Speed Racer, like that movie.
Underappreciated. Yeah.
But it's very fun. It's a wild ride, man. Like I've actually had to take a nap after watching that movie before. It's a good time.
Well, and just to jump back to CP's point about Bound, is that it's a very tasteful scene. It's not deliberately gratuitous, because the one that I watched a year or so ago that had Kate Winslet and I always mispronounce her name, Saoirse Ronan,
Saoirse.
Something like that.
Irish name you could ever have.
Yeah, it was a film called Ammonite, and that was legit one of the most over the top, very graphic. I was like, hey, as a red-blooded straight man, I was all for it, but I was just like, wow, I'm really surprised they brought that to it. So Bound did not take that approach, tasteful in that regard. So
yeah, it's funny you say Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet really doesn't mind.
No, she shows her goodies often. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
She's often in Little Children. There's some scenes where it's like, all right, can you wear clothes some of the time?
Yeah. And the one with Harvey Keitel, Holy Smoke, maybe? Was that what it was called? The one where she walks over the coals. I can't recall it specifically, but yeah, it was her and Harvey Keitel, and it was very, very graphic in that regard too. So more power to her being very
Harvey Keitel, who's hung like a snake, man. If you've watched Bad Lieutenant, good for him.
What was I can't believe of course I'm the one to bring this up though, but in one of the 50 Shades movies, there's a scene where poor Dakota Johnson, who is an absolute saint, and I'm so glad she's not she's doing such good work now that she's no longer attached to those. But anyways,
Lost Daughter, man. Lost Daughter is great.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. What's up?
Oh, I was just saying Lost Daughter is great. The one that she is in with oh goodness, woman from The Favorite whose name is eluding me. It's been a while since I've talked about all of these different actresses, but sorry for interrupting, Lindsay. My bad.
No, you're good. But also, Good Times at the El Royale. Oh, she's so good in that movie.
Oh, that's right. She is in that. All right.
One of the two. Anyway, great movie. She's amazing in it. But there's a scene in 50 Shades where she's just naked, just walking around the apartment, just having a conversation. I'm like, this is completely gratuitous, guys.
Yeah, all those 50 Shades movies are so empty. They're just empty. I saw something recently that like I was just like, this is just kind of like 50 Shades. It might have been one of those Megan Fox movies that has been released in the last year. Where it's just like, okay.
Well,
Like,
Netflix tried to like 365. Wasn't that a Netflix attempt at doing 50 Shades? Did I make that up, or am I mixing it up with something else?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't heard that.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Netflix, or there was something on Netflix that was like
Well-
super like sexual drama.
Check out this segue. You want to talk about gratuitous girls on television? There's a girl in Euphoria who also happened to make a Spider-Man movie. and did we see that Zendaya is Spider-Man? I didn't say it.
I picked up where you're going now.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
yeah.
Euphoria yet, so I was just like, okay, where
Oh
you going?
yeah, Euphoria. Yeah, we're so neutered in America. Like seriously, it's funny. Well, I don't know if it. Maybe I would think differently, but since I've been watching stuff like Human Centipede and Salo, and I'm just like, guys, really, this is if the actor is like 22. What does it matter? What does it matter if they're presenting a story? So if you all think that 17-year-olds aren't getting down, then boy, you've never been 17, huh?
I wasn't afforded those luxuries. I was too chubby and crew cutted and stuff. But
I bet you got along with yourself just fine, though.
I certainly did.
See, that's no, you can't. No.
Show business is back, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I still haven't explored the phenomenon of Euphoria. There's so many other shows that I've been a little more concerned with, but I saw that the viewership like quadrupled or something crazy for the second season. So it's being very much talked about for some reason.
I'm so scarred with television after I watched Dexter.
I haven't taken that plunge yet. I need to get on that.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of Peacemaker right now, which is far sillier and stupider and more amusing than I was anticipating. Lots of hair metal, so there you go.
That's another one I need to get on. That looks really
it is funny. In the first episode, after he gets down with this lady and he's singing into her vibrator, like a microphone or something. It's pretty amusing stuff. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
there it is.
The intro song for that show is "Do you want to taste it?"
Yeah. Yeah, it is some like Steel Panther level of silliness as far as the hair metal throwback goes, but it's good. It's good. Cena is improving in his comedic timing. I think not that he was like terrible before, but yeah, he's honing those skills. So.
Oh, Cena! I thought you said Xena for a second. I was like, Lucy Lawless is in it, but no, John Cena. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, something I've been kind of spreading my wings on more and more lately, especially in the last couple months since we spoke last time, is like long form documentary type stuff. I don't. It's a little over a year old. It could be 2 years old now at this point. But there's a documentary called The Vow that is on HBO about the cult Nexium, NXIVM.
Is that the one that the chick from
Smallville? Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
It is fascinating.
Okay.
It really is a fascinating watch. Like, if you just hear sex trafficking, you're like, oh, those terrible people and whatever. But there's so much more to what's going on. And there's 10 episodes worth of just how deep that shit got. And there's more than just sex trafficking. Like, it's brainwashing. It's straight brainwashing. It's insane.
Well, it's about getting people into the cult mentality, and then once you're into the cult mentality, then having you be a new recruiter to have you go out and get people to join in and stuff like that, right? It's kind of like a, what do you call it?
No, he so the main guy who like was the inspiration for the group, because he couldn't legally make the group because he was arrested for making a pyramid scheme in the 90s. So he had to have somebody else like be the CEO or whatever, and he was just there for inspirational support. And it was for a while they presented themselves as self-help, which a lot of people spoke to, and apparently they targeted like rich people. The son of the Mexican president fell into that and made his own chapter in Mexico, and it's just like,
Vicente Fox or the current one, or no?
oh, I
Sorry.
don't know. He's
Yeah.
dude, my mouth was agape for the whole thing. Just like, what?
So is it
What?
Seduced Inside the Nexium Cult? Is that the one that I'm looking at?
No, that is directed by. Well, it's not directed by. It's adapted from one of the women. Oh, she was in Dynasty. What is her name? Well, anyway, she and her daughter went to Nexium, and her daughter got stuck. And her daughter, like, he was getting arrested towards the end, and his daughter wasn't coming back home, and she was so desperately trying to get her daughter out of there. That is something I have not watched at great detail. I've seen a little bit, and it gave me a very Lifetime movie feel, and I was like,
That's a little weird.
It's called The Vow. The Vow. It's 10
The Vow.
episodes on
Okay.
HBO.
Sorry, I was just searching for Nexium and just seeing what that brought up.
It's like spelled weird too. It's like NX. It's not
Yeah,
NX, right?
NX.
Yeah.
Almost like what Churches does. Yeah.
Okay.
NXIVM. Yeah, because they're like think outside the box thing was it was IX, and they're like, what is this number 9? How do you make this 6 using only one line? And you just put an S in front of the IX, and like, oh my god,
brilliant.
So
it's like the reverse of the Facebook thing. Drop the.
Yeah, the one that I watched
too. No. Oh. What was that?
Well, in that regard, the one that I watched a few months ago was the Dr. Death. There was a limited series that was on Peacock, and then there was also a corresponding documentary about that guy who was in Texas on the dramatization. He's played by Pacey from Dawson's Creek, Joshua Jackson. Tremendous in the role, and it's about this guy who was doing these invasive surgeries, and he was doing a lot of drugs, and he like somehow got his way through medical school with the quickness because he had a brilliant mind and had all of this tech that he was trying to push through, but he didn't actually have the hands-on skills to be operating on people. And so he was nicknamed Dr. Death because of all the horrendous things that he was doing. And so there's both a documentary and the dramatization series. And he was doing stuff like, the little sponges that they use to, make sure that there's no overbleeding. He was like sewing people back up and leaving those in them after performing the surgeries. I mean, horrible stuff like that. And, he was like getting coked out before he went on and, actually was doing surgery. So really crazy, and seeing both sides of the dramatization and the doc, and the fact that it was very accurate and didn't really just build up the sort of story aspects because it was already there and they didn't have to really change too much. So yeah, Dr. Death, very, very good.
I don't know if I can watch that actually. I've had that nightmare multiple times. Like I'm having heart surgery and I wake up, I look down and there's like someone with their hand on my heart, and I wake up in like real life and freak out. Like
when my gallbladder was taken out, there's something wrong. Like I have whatever they did on the inside, there's something poking through. I can't lay down on my stomach because it hurts. Whatever they tied my insides up with is like right at the cusp of my flesh where my stomach is. And
it just makes me squirm, man. Just even you describing it.
Well, part of me is like, all right, I need to get it fixed. But part of me is like, what if they go in and try to fix it and then cut everything else open and I can just kind of deal with it for now. I don't need the people that screwed it up to just outright finish me off.
Interesting approach. On the subject, like kind of long form documentaries here, people are lining up about Tiger King in the chat and the new Peacock series coming out about it.
Yeah.
I've seen
Joe versus Carol.
Yeah, I don't know if we need it. I don't think it's a good idea to like canonize these fairly terrible people the way that we are.
Right.
But Kate McKinnon did look pretty good in the clip. Like she was like looked like she was doing a pretty good job. Although there was one guy who I think is her husband, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but it looks like he's screened into the shot because like the edges around his head are just weird. Like maybe I'm just seeing one little detail and I'm overthinking it, but it looks like they had to like key him into the scene, and it's really distracting.
Yeah, we're just fascinated with real life bad people. Like there's something about America. Our greatest export is entertainment about people that really are bad.
Seriously.
And train wreck television, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Amen.
and the Joe versus Carol thing, like, why? What?
I mean, to be fair, I would
Why?
love to see Nicolas Cage play Joe Exotic if that's actually going to happen. That just sounds amazing. But I just question putting these guys into the zeitgeist as much as they are, because they kind of suck.
All right, so Spider-Man. However, we got off that. I don't remember. Spider-Man: No Way Home, was that it called? Yes, No Way Home. No Way Home.
Made more than $44.
It did more than 44 flat. Thoughts, gentlemen?
That was the first big theater experience I'd had in a while. I saw it opening night. No one was in the front 3 rows with me, and I just kind of just like laid back and just let it happen to me, and it was fine. But I loved it. It was just such a hit in the feels, and there I really liked it. I really liked it. There's a couple of parts there, like the CG looked a little funky, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it was so much about that just shared experience with a bunch of other people in the theater, and I think I loved it. I mean, the first act I had a few issues with where they were kind of building up, but once we had spoilers, I'm assuming we're far enough removed and safe enough. Like once we got all 3 of them together, and it turned out to be so much more time spent with all 3 of them interacting than I was expecting. That's where they just totally won me over. Most notably, if you haven't seen Tick Tick Boom, dude, I mean, Andrew Garfield is just the shit at this particular point. He has honed his craft so much as an actor. He's terrific in that Netflix movie. He was great in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I mean, he had a hell of a year, and he was the one who had so much more just emotional breadth than I was anticipating in that movie, especially with saving of a certain character, which was almost like a moderate redemptive sort of beat, if you know how the second Amazing Spider-Man ended. Right. And so I think I loved it. It's not a perfect movie, but it was so much of a nerdgasm for me, and something that I never thought in a million years I was ever going to see on screen. And so for that reason alone, the novelty just totally wins for me.
Nothing else in the movie proved that Andrew Garfield was not the reason why those other 2 movies didn't work, and I'm happy with that.
Sony doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because it wasn't Mark Webb did some damn good work on those, and so he wasn't the problem either, in my opinion, as the director. So
yeah, they need Marvel to hold their hands, because I don't know how much Marvel had to do with Venom Carnage, but that was a little sloppy. That
was hilarious to me that they set that up in Carnage, and then it's just a throwaway gag that you blink and you miss. I guess spoilers, sorry. I mean, I guess it's gonna have greater implications going forward, but like I was so worried that at every point, again, spoilers if you haven't seen No Way Home, at some point during that movie Venom was gonna show up, and I was suddenly gonna be like, oh man, this movie's bad now. And then it didn't happen until the post credits, and it was like, oh, okay, that's perfect.
Yeah. So I'm very, very outspoken with my superhero fatigue. I kind of have it. And Spider-Man, it was No Way Home. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'll get to Tom Holland in a minute, but I feel like we now have this exploitable thing that writers are going to do, and I didn't really think about it until Rick and Morty, but now we're getting it with Doctor Strange in a couple of months, where you have multiverses, and you can have different versions and just retcon whatever. Oh, here's a $600 movie. It sucked. All right, we're gonna try it again, but this one's in a different universe.
I'm actually all for it because they've done all those stories to death at this particular point. I feel like multiverse is one of the only ways you can make this shit interesting at this point.
They're
You
going to
know,
beat it. Like I agree, but at some point it's going to be like, all right, guys, or like the comedic breaking the fourth wall thing. Like, you've bled that dry. Thanks.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's neat. It certainly adds some fun to the whole thing. It's just Hollywood, when they get their hands on something that's magical, they beat the shit out of it until it's just a little rock, and that's it.
Well, we have it coming with Flash, right? So yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, the trailer. It was funny. The trailer was in front of the Batman, and I was like, they're not redoing Justice League again, are they? But I didn't realize
they
what they
had
were
to do
doing.
the whole trailer for everything DC coming out soon.
Yeah,
Before the Batman.
yeah.
That was silly, but I guess you got to do it. Yeah, this multiverse stuff. It's really funny how they are like double, tripling, and like quadruple downing on all of it so much without really committing to it yet. So I guess Doctor Strange is going to be like the first really big thing of that. But I don't know, man. I got faith in Sam Raimi. I think this will be good. And if they keep giving these things to directors like Sam Raimi, yeah, I've got hope. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I do. Did you guys watch? Or maybe we talked about it before and I forgot. Loki. Did you guys check that out at all?
No. The show on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Did you?
Hit Monkey, right? I think that was what it was called. It was the animated thing that was on Hulu, right?
What on earth are you talking about? What?
Is that the one? Or
oh no, Loki.
Monkey? No, not at all.
Loki.
Loki! Goodness Lord, dude! That just shows how effed up these headphones are.
I thought I was getting like really high. I'm like, why is he talking about a monkey? What is going on?
I did check out Loki. Yes, derp to dur. It's these inner ear headphones that I haven't used, unfortunately, really. But they've been setting it up even in the Marvel side, not just the Sony side, for this sort of jumping around in various iterations, even before the Doctor Strange stuff that we're about to see. And I guess I'll just double down that I've been kind of bored with a lot of superhero stuff, especially on the Marvel side of things since Endgame. And I'm like, where do they go?
Oh.
Yeah, talk about a boring slog that felt its runtime and felt like its name, and then there was an eternity. Everybody who was not taught on that movie used that.
If you told me after Mr. and Mrs. Smith that Angelina Jolie would be in a superhero movie and you'd just be bored out of your skull, I would have been like, you're drunk. Also, why are you from the future telling me about a movie in 15 years?
I was a little kinder to Eternals than a lot of people were, but I hated the lead characters so much. Like the main two Eternals, Cersei and Icarus, or however you pronounce it, were like the most boring of the Eternals, and the fact that they got the most screen time was endlessly frustrating for me because the other Eternals kept doing fun, cute things. I was like, no, go to them, and it just didn't.
And then they have Camille Nanjiani just leave in the third act, and it's like, no, he's just going to go off because he's not a part of it and doesn't feel the need.
Actually, I did like the idea because, like, if you put all the Eternals on like the D&D alignment chart, like he would be like the true neutral one, and so that makes sense that he would leave. But he was also one of the better ones, so the movie got worse. Like it made sense, but the movie just wasn't as fun or entertaining without him. So it didn't work. It didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, but Loki, not Monkey. I was definitely a fan of it, and I was very entertained. It was actually probably in the upper echelon of all of these Marvel TV shows that they've done. Like I was less hot on the Falcon Winter Soldier. I was less hot on crossbow guy whose name is eluding me at this particular point. But I thought Loki was definitely one of the better takes and much more ambitious as far as the storytelling and the universe expansion that they were trying to do. So,
and I don't want to go into it too much for spoiler's sake, but the villain guy that they talk about at the end there, I want to see more of him. He was dope. I don't know when he's going to show back up again, but he was dope.
You know what the Eternals felt like? It felt like the inverse to John Carter. John Carter, I felt like it was a really fun movie that had nobody that could carry a movie. And this has like a bunch of people that you could probably hang a movie off of, but it was just so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they should just do John Carter with Angelina Jolie. There's and Salma Hayek.
Joanne Carter.
Salma.
It's not even a hard change.
Yeah, Walter White was in that too, in a little bit.
But yeah, multiverse seems to be happening
Cranston.
across the board, right? I mean, we've got Michael Keaton in 2 different DC movies coming up playing Bruce Wayne, between Batgirl and The Flash. So yeah, it's very much a thing, and I'm just hoping they don't, I don't know, blow their wad too quickly or just wear out the novelty too soon, or like CP was saying. So
yeah, so Spider-Man, I liked it, but I don't think. And maybe not. Maybe I'm not saying this about the actor, but I probably am saying it about Tom Holland. More on that in a split second. But the Spider-Man character does not carry films the way a RDJ carries Iron Man. It feels like he's just in the background while other shit's going on, and he's making sure that the things stay glued together, and then he's on to another thing, and oh shit, I gotta do this. It never feels like, oh yeah, he's taken over, he's shining, this is his moment, he's doing a thing. It never feels that way. Like Marissa Tomei has more character in the Spider-Man movies than Tom Holland. Sorry.
Ooh, and again, spoilers, but man, that one scene of hers, I wasn't quite ready for that.
Well, what?
Marissa Tomei in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Like that was a good way to handle that. Kind of out of left field, not left field, but like a good way to handle something that we've possibly seen too many times. So kind of giving like a fresh take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which will lead right into last week, which was, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, Uncharted, starring the very same Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg too.
Both of them playing their usual selves. In all honesty, it was a fun movie. It was like, I mean, dare I say, it was National Treasure light, but it felt like even lighter than National Treasure in some ways to me. Then again, I mean, I haven't played the video games, and so, but the gamers have been a little bit more upset from what I've seen about the fact that it's a prequel and some of the character alterations and the fact that they went so young with what
Mark Wahlberg, way too young, too young to play that character.
Well, I mean, both, right?
Yes.
So,
that's a fair point. Watched the Nathan Fillion, I think it's like a 20-minute fan film, and then get back to me on these guys. I mean, the plane scene was awesome. However, we saw it in a game. If you're a gamer, this movie is just reminders of what isn't the game. Because at least when you're playing the game, you have some sort of control over the thing. They're just showing it to you, and you're like, yeah, no, I know that, okay. But another movie where Tom Holland does not have, maybe not character, but he doesn't have the character of Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake is very Indiana Jonesy. I mean, that was the big thing when Uncharted first came out. They were like, oh, he's kind of cocksure like Indiana Jones, and that's not. It's not an unfair comparison, but in regards to Tom Holland, he's not that. He's Spider-Man. He's him from Spider-Man in Uncharted. You're saying, oh, I tripped. Something shot. That was a pretty good Morty from Rick and Morty voice I just did there. Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, and he's like,
funny too. Oh, go ahead.
no, I have it.
I was just gonna say, like, I felt like in the beginning of the movie they tried to kind of give Tom Holland a kind of like a world weary edge to him when he's like the bartender who's like stealing from people and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure he's old enough to be that edgy, but sure, why not? Whatever. But then they just completely dropped it, and it never came up again.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And I don't know if they're homaging a bunch of different things, but it does feel like a watered down, dare I say, watered down National Treasure meets Indiana Jones. And you have a cocktail in the beginning for a random couple of minutes.
Yeah, Tom cruising it up. Yeah. Although I gotta give him props for all the spinning and stuff that he learned to do from what I was reading, for the role specifically. So, on him, that's cool. I guess
that's scary.
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley working out for 6 months to learn how to fucking battle around with a stick, and Tom Holland's taking time juggling bottles.
Yeah.
Also, imagine how bad that bottle would have looked if he was just like, "Yeah, just do hand things, and we'll CGI the bottle in later."
Well, they had the money to do it.
Still works with that ping pong stuff. It still looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was in the 90s, actually. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so
Uncharted.
Yeah. So something interesting about that movie, because I walked out of that movie fascinated by the way it was pieced together. Like, it just felt like so many story things were just like left on the floor. Like Chloe Fraser just disappears for like 35 minutes for reasons. There's so many scenes that felt like they were supposed to be like setting up like some kind of like sexual tension between her and Tom, but then it always just stops right before it goes anywhere. Like there's one scene where he's shirtless and hanging out with her, and then the moment she goes to bed, he puts a shirt on. Like,
oh right, yeah.
But like the thing about the movie that really got to me was, or not, just fun fact, I should say, the first day of shooting for that movie was the day that COVID was declared a pandemic. So they got like 3 hours into shooting, and then we're told, nope, shutting it down. And they were one of, if not the first movies to come back and start shooting again. So, and then when you go back and you watch the movie, because actually, when I saw another movie, I kind of peeked my head in just to kind of like see what I could see for a second time around. There's a lot of scenes where people have like odd distance from people. Like
I noticed that too when they were outside. I was like, this is done during COVID.
Well, like the scene where she like pickpockets him, but she's nowhere near close enough to pickpocket him. There's like 4 or 5 feet. Like I don't. How do you do that? And the answer is they had to shoot around COVID restrictions, or at least that's what I think. And then there's like another scene where they're in a club and they're dancing, but they're not allowed to like actually like kind of intimate dance for more than 4 seconds or something like that. I wondered if they're like that was a COVID thing. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Absolutely,
but like
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what the movie that was shot entirely during COVID was released on Netflix last week, 2 weeks ago, with Zoe Kravitz, Kimi.
Oh yeah, the Steven Soderbergh film. Yeah, HBO Max, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's HBO Max. I thought it was Netflix. It's something you can watch right now if you'd like. And that's not agoraphobia. I just want to. She plays an agoraphobic, and she does a lot of work from her house. And
that's cool. I think she's a great actress. I'll watch pretty much anything with her.
Absolutely agreed. And we'll get to her in a very quick second. But yeah, you could tell that they couldn't have people together with that movie. I mean, it's a hell of an excuse to film a movie about agoraphobia that, all right, we can't have groups. But she very easily left the house once and did a thing, and it was just kind of shy, and that's not the way it works. No. But maybe she was highly medicated. I don't know. Sigourney Weaver in Copycat is a better version of an agoraphobic than Zoe and Kimi.
Kiwi me.
Kimi, yeah,
Whatever.
Kimi, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it's like the modern day version of the net is basically what it is.
Oh, interesting.
Sandra Bullock, deep pull there too.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, it's basically every conspiracy theorist's wet dream come true that your Amazon thing is recording everything you're doing, and that's what her job is to program like words that the Siri or whatever the shit, it's not Siri, it's something else, like she has to program the recognition like that. Oh, he didn't say fuck, he said truck, and she'd have to program it so that it would relearn and understand what its owner was talking about. And she caught a murder and looked into it, and the rest is history.
Alexa?
Was it Alexa? Okay, Alexa. Oh yeah, Siri's Apple's bitch.
Yeah, I was about to say there's like a different name for all of them, if I recall correctly. But it's one that's been on my list to check out since it came out a couple weeks ago, and I think we were saving it for the review roundup on the horror show. So sometime this week, there's that. There's No Exit, which is a new thriller that's on Hulu that's been on my radar, and then a couple others. But
wait, okay. No Exit, like the play No Exit?
I'm not sure, but it's a new thriller. It's something about characters being stuck in a house and in winter environments outside and so on. But yeah, it's on Hulu. No Exit. It was one that's got some buzz going right now. And then the other one is called Fresh, which has Sebastian Stan, and that flick is awesome. So,
real quick, Fuego. Speaking of horror, and I tapped out. Again, if you give me the choice to watch something at home, and I can just switch the channel and do something else, it's a lot easier for me to say, nope, done. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out.
Yeah, I know Chauncey was wanting,
loves it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she was a big fan of it. I didn't hate it, but then again, it was very just mediocre sort of approach to me. I mean, there was some nice gore. There's a bit in a bus that is very well shot, but there were some issues with that film with the dailies early on, and they fired the director and they brought somebody new on. So it was obviously a little bit of a troubled production to a degree. It's very short. I mean, if you include the end credits, there's it's maybe 75 minutes, I think. So it's very, very lean and mean, not a lot of character development. It's not as bad as some people are making it out to be, at least in my estimation, but I
wouldn't know.
But I mean, then again, I'm not a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw, series. I love the first two films. I appreciate the remake with Jessica Biel, but I can't say I've seen a lot of the other ones. I know there's a prequel with Stephen Dorff. I know there's the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. And so, yeah, it's a series that somehow continues to go on. And yet, I don't know, it doesn't have the same affinity within the horror ranks as a Friday the 13th, obviously, or a Nightmare on Elm Street or Chucky even. And so it is one that I'm kind of shocked that they keep going back to the well for at this point, because I don't think it's as beloved as certain people who are like, a well-known IP, let's make another one. And yet I don't think the horror masses, aside from the first couple, are really that hard up for that. I
mean, you had a new Scream movie weeks apart from a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and it was just like night and day of reception. And
I guess I'm kind of on the fence with it. I did already talk about it a little bit with good old Bob in the chat there on his podcast, but I for every good thing in that movie, there's something just weird, like the bus scene. The bus scene is such a beautiful moment in a horror movie, and it's a scene in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where there's actually a chainsaw massacre. Like, it's the name coming to life. It's great, but then, like, I don't know, you have extremely on the nose writing, which I kind of get the point they're going for, where they're trying to deal with like violence in America and the history of it and all that, and that's great. I love it. But you didn't really go anywhere with it. It just kind of was just brought up and then dropped just as fast.
Well, and also I feel like it's been more mentioned by reviewers and people discussing the film than what was really evident in it. And that's the subtext of, the youth coming in to do the, degentrification and the arrogance of them and thinking they can turn things around so quickly and easily. And I didn't really pick up on that very much when I was initially watching the movie, but then as I was hearing other people's takes and reviews and some of the interviews, the filmmakers were like, oh yeah, it was a big point that we were trying to push forward. And I was like, well, you didn't really make it that evident to me, but whatever. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I would never claim to be, but I do watch a lot of horror.
A lot of back and awkward character writing. Like there's the guy who's like the mechanic, who's like kind of helping them out in the movie, but he's also just an absolute asshole in the start of the movie. And like I do like he's a complex character. I enjoyed that. Like I think he has one of the best scenes with the girl from 8th grade, where he's like kind of showing her the gun and they're kind of talking about how like she survived like a school shooting and stuff like that. I thought that was a really good scene, but he also does a thing that I didn't know existed until I listened to another podcast talking about this called coal rolling. And that's why his truck belched out smoke like that. It's like you intentionally rig your car to just be incredibly environmentally unfriendly. So I'm just like, okay, well, so I hate this guy, but he has one good, I don't know, movie. What am I supposed to think about this guy?
Cool.
Well, and also the whole, let's do Laurie Strode, but with Texas Chainsaw, and the fact that it was such an afterthought, and she's in like a couple of scenes, and then the sheer lunacy of what happens with her in the movie, and how, without spoiling things, but how she's able to assist. And, at the end of the film, I was just like, it just made me laugh, because I was like, for real? Okay, I know it's a check your brain and at the door sort of situation. But I mean, I was upset in Uncharted when they dropped their bags in the dance club and then they never picked them up and didn't have them when they were going through, that underground area. And then somehow they had the bags with those important postcards again. And I was like, oh, you never picked those up, Tom Holland. So little stuff just aggravates me like that. And when it gets way stupider in something like the Texas Chainsaw film, that's where I'm just like, okay, guys,
that's on the script
supervisor. But like that dance club scene, I've got so many issues with it. Like the dance thing I talked about earlier, what you just mentioned, I forgot about it, but yes, that did bug me. Fuego.
Yeah, they both drop their bags, man, and they don't have them when they're going through. So.
And then like 2 seconds after they do that, they're like, we need a distraction. We need to get their eyes somewhere that's not us. And what does Tom Holland do? Light the thing right next to him on fire. If you're trying to distract people, don't make them look where you're standing, sir. What are you doing?
And about the Mark Wahlberg fight in the Papa John's, I guess that was even bigger than him chugging the Bud Light in the Transformers movie, right? So, I mean, as far as just blatant, they're like, oh, they're in Spain, right? And they're fighting in a corporate pizza place. It's just, oh my God.
Because they definitely have Papa John's in Spain.
Yeah.
Aaron Anderson with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And he says, it's been too long, CP. Happy that we're all back together. Missed you guys and the people in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Likewise.
You,
this is my farewell party to this location. In case you can't notice, we're clear. Everything's going. Everything's got to go. One less than 1 full week, and I'll be somewhere else. Where, I don't know, but
no.
No. I mean, it's okay. It's just
I mean, there's options. There's like potentials.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if people remember when I was in Denmark, I would stream. I wouldn't stream very long. I wouldn't put production together too long. You're a guest, so like I can't be like, all right, you know what, we're gonna film this badass murder scene in the kitchen. it's not your house. lot different here. Setting up lights and things like that. We'll see. I'm gonna try to temporarily. We're okay. We just. I didn't bring it up for any sort of negative reason. A big shout out to everybody. Everybody. I think everybody in the chat, as a matter of fact, had helped out financially going back to about this time last year, and we were supposed to be evicted around March of 21. So you know what? We got a full year out of it. I'm thankful. You guys were awesome, and there's I have to look at the good and not the bad, because this I didn't expect to have July 4th here. I didn't expect to have Thanksgiving here, Christmas, New Year's. So
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day, March 7th. But yeah, you guys really are awesome, and thank you. We're not here to cry or whatever. It's just a last show here. That's all. Just a little bit uncertainty of where I'll be streaming from next. That is all I meant to say.
Yeah, I got a garage, man. Like it's a little dirty in there, but like, hey, like we can set you up with a good little area. Don't worry.
Yeah, we can record from the same spot too. Yeah. Save on cameras. So, well, I'll have to remember this in the re-edit. For those of you who are watching this not live, the 10 minute 10 or the stream is 1 hour 1 minute 40 seconds. Now shall we talk about Matt Reeves's The Batman?
Yeah, sure, why not? Everybody else is talking about it, right?
We gotta.
So, thoughts. Fuego, you're tired of talking about it, and I think you have a less than popular opinion. So
might as well get it out of the way, right?
Aboard, yeah.
Overrated at this particular point, most definitely. And yet it's tough because of the fact that, yes, I had some people when we were doing a spoilers discussion, myself and Cecil last night on the horror show, that they were just kind of shooting down my opinion and saying that I shouldn't compare it to the other Batman movies. But since Batman is my favorite superhero, and since I also rewatched all of them, including 66, including Mask of the Phantasm, and even the Mr. Freeze animated movie. I know there's a bunch of other animated films, and obviously the Nolan stuff and BVS. And so I... Sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry. If you're not thinking of any of the other Batman movies or properties, this movie makes no sense.
Yeah. And maybe feels fresher, I would say, because of the fact that this recounts a lot of tropes that we have seen in a ton of other Batman movies. Right. Most notably, the fact that Gotham is irredeemable, the fact that Bruce can never stop being Batman. We've seen these things a lot before.
At least we didn't see a pearl necklace snap from a gun. I'm more than happy to not see that in a movie.
And I credit them for that. And the fact that they firmly committed to year two, the fact that, they wanted to show a not as wet behind the ears Bruce, but still... I mean, as kind of emo and conflicted as he is, he still seems a lot less like put together than even Bale did in Batman Begins, which is one of my favorite Batman movies personally. But I think another term I would use is hollow, because of the fact that it is a incredible looking movie. It is beautifully shot. It sets vibe and tone of grandeur and grittiness and everything. But it just script wise, and very much noir as far as where it's deriving all its inspiration from. And they wore their heart on their sleeves and their inspirations of Fincher and everything, which is cool because I love Zodiac, and especially the director's cut where you get a little bit more with Gyllenhaal and Robert Downey and everything. But it just, at the end of the day, aside from that Giacchino score and aside from the performance of some of the villains, like Colin Farrell is the shit in this movie. He is
I didn't know he was Colin Farrell for 98% of that.
Yeah.
Pretty
Un-
good.
You lean
Recognizable,
over to Emily and go like,
Yeah.
"Wait, who's this guy playing
Yeah.
Penguin?" And she's like, "It's Colin Farrell."
Yeah, and I also loved Zoe Kravitz. She's not my favorite Catwoman because Michelle Pfeiffer left her imprint within me, but significantly better than Anne Hathaway. And I am not a fan of Dark Knight Rises. That is a film that I have even more issues with than this. But villains have always been like the toast of the proceedings and the focal point, obviously, with Nicholson getting top billing in that first 89 movie and so on. And even when you had Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones and some of the others, and like Schwarzenegger had top billing for Batman and Robin. And so at the end of the day, I've been flip-flopping a lot with this movie because when I walked out of it, I was like, well, it's too long. I love the score. The acting was good, but I had some script issues. And then as I thought about it a little bit more, I was like, I don't know if I liked it as much as I said in a spoiler-free review. And then I veered back into it. I'm still somewhere in the middle, but yeah, it's just the amount of praise that I am seeing heaped upon it, most notably people saying it's the best Batman movie ever. That's where I'm just like, hold your horses.
I wish I hadn't read that and seen it 3 or 4 times going in, because first of all, it could be a third shorter. Just it's incessantly way far too long. It's just bloated.
I didn't feel the bloat as much as like the Snyder cut, but oh good God. But yeah, keep going.
It's a shame we don't have Chauncey here, because you bringing up Catwoman, I wanted to have a male female perspective thing going on here, because when you think of Catwoman and sex appeal, it's got to be Michelle Pfeiffer. But my argument would be it's that outfit. That outfit does a lot of work for Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. But I was really into Zoe Kravitz, like in this movie for if she wanted to go out on a date, I probably would have said yes. The sex appeal was there, and it wasn't about like anything in particular. And she was an imperfect character, and I was curious to know who Chauncey's choice for sex appeal on Batman would be. Like, which one would you like to go on a date with? And I can't answer that. The one thing I will say, I could be speaking out of turn. This could be fresh memory, but I don't remember very much other Batman movies where they focus on the eyes so much, because that's a big actor thing. Yeah. Usually if an actor can get you to believe something with his eyes, he's the job is being done. It could have been Matt Reeves' tight close-ups. He could have had those. But I felt a lot from Robert Pattinson in this movie last night. And a lot of it was look alone, and a couple of other things. But, man, I feel like an asshole for everything I've said about Robert Pattinson up until Good Time. I mean, shit, he was fantastic in Good Time. And this movie, I buy his tortured nature. I really did.
Yeah. No, I did too. I mean, I've always been a big Pattinson fan. Him and Kristen Stewart, I enjoyed both of them before Twilight. Then they did Twilight. I'm like, oh, don't do this for long. And now they're not. Like The Lighthouse was like, she's so good in that movie. But in a more mainstream movie like The Batman, yeah, I really did dig a lot of what he did in this movie. I guess he pulls off the emo look a little easily.
I think that's abused. I don't think he didn't feel emo.
The right word, but like the heavy eyes, like the hair in your face, like that's
right.
He pulls that off very well.
Right.
So.
That was like when we were seeing pictures of him. That was like the thing that we were talking about. Oh, we're getting emo Batman. I don't think so. Yes, it was neat to see. Is this the first time we've seen a Batman without the mask on, but he had the eye makeup still?
That's a good question because when we saw that in this movie, I did flash back to the Keaton moment where he rips the mask off and returns.
Yeah, and it was nothing on. So wait a minute. My short but sweet. See, now I'm stretching it. I feel like if The Dark Knight was Heat meets Batman, then the Batman feels like Seven meets Zodiac meets Batman.
Yeah. And if Joker, it's the Joker, my friend who I saw it with made, and if Joker was supposed to be a Scorsese film, like what director are they going to emulate for the next Batman movie here? Are they going to go for some George Lucas or something like that, a little Steven Spielberg inspiration, or who knows? But one thing I really did appreciate about this movie, well, two things actually. One, Batman was a detective. He did detective things. That was extremely cool. Like, we don't see enough of that in the movies, and I get it. Like, detective things aren't as exciting as punching the Penguin in the face, but
well, hold on. I'm gonna argue on this one here.
Oh, yeah.
But how did he get his badge without nobody knowing who he actually was? Because there was a scene where, like, he got to walk in on a crime scene, and the cops like, "We're just gonna let him in," and it was just like, yeah, he's got a point. This guy could be a suspect. He's just dressed like an idiot with his bat suit on, but he was like a detective. You're right. There was a lot of stuff where he was.
I'll agree that I think he was on screen with a lot of cops a few too many times.
Yeah,
there was like maybe one less time. I think would have really let it go a long way. Like, there's that scene where he's walking through the hallway just full of cops.
You would think just one guy with handcuffs. Gotcha.
Got him.
Yeah, it was legit the most we had accepted and seen him accepted in that particular scenario, and especially with only being 2 years into it, I thought that was maybe a little bit much. But his camaraderie with Jeffrey Wright, as Gordon, I thought was tremendous. And it's the one thing with rewatching the Burton and the Schumacher movies that I guess I just kind of forgotten about is the fact that Bruce has pretty much donuts for a relationship with Commissioner Gordon in those first 4 films that all interconnect. And it's something that I really treasure and cherish a lot, that they built very well in Batman Begins, and then also really solidified as well in this film. So I thought that was one of the highlights for sure.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Wright and his thing was completely different than what Gary Oldman did. Like, I love me some Jeffrey Wright.
Damn right.
Yeah,
I like having an Alfred under the age of 70 in Smeagol.
He's been
Andy Serkis.
Wait,
he's like 3 scenes in the movie. I mean, he didn't really have
but they were important. There was some stuff going on. I'm like, yeah, all right, finally, we're making something with just watch the movie.
I mean, I'm with you, Fuego. He should have had another scene or two, but anytime we actually get to see Andy Serkis on screen, he's not like a CGI thing.
Not bubbles all over his body with green jacket.
Yeah, like in Black Panther, he was so happy, and I always wondered, like, was he happy because he actually gets to be a character on screen? But like, I think he's a really talented actor, and it's nice.
He's adding to his 13 going on 30 credit, so that is really important.
Was he in that? I never.
He was. He was, and he was in CGI. So we're getting some decent roles out of Andy Serkis.
Yeah, I know it's unfair to compare him to Kenneth Branagh because they're both these British thespians that also direct and act and stuff. And Branagh doesn't mocap or anything of that nature, but they have similar skills in the fact that they have that duality. They can do both. They can be on screen and be very convincing with their dramatic skills. And I mean, I didn't love the second Venom movie, but I'm not going to say it was poorly directed. That wasn't the issue.
He did direct
more so scripting. He directed it. Yeah,
I forgot about that. That's right. Oh, okay. Yeah. I told you to see the Jungle Book. He directed too. I'm a bad fan. I never saw that one.
Yeah. So did you guys see the Death on the Nile? Just to veer really briefly.
I did.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I liked it.
I really enjoyed it. I've always been a sucker for murder mysteries, and if you go back and watch my plug my own content here, I never do that. Watch my review of New Mutants. I make a joke about how I want to see superhero murder mysteries, and the Batman gave that to me. And we've got these Poirot movies that are kind of doing it too, with a pseudo superhero vibe with how great he is. And I don't know, I'm just a happy camper over here. I'm getting all the murder mysteries I want. We got Knives Out 2 coming out soon. Knives In.
I like it.
Brilliant point, Jake. I'll ask you guys because you may know better than I. Was Colin Farrell channeling Robert De Niro from The Fighter? What the hell's the name of that movie? Why am I forgetting the name of
Bull guy?
Raging Bull. Holy shit! Yeah, because he felt very old Raging Bull dude for quite a bit in that movie. Or maybe not.
I could see it. I could see it. It's been a long time since I've seen Raging Bull. That's why I couldn't think of the name.
Yeah, same. I was thinking Bull Durham for whatever reason. I'm like, no, that's not right.
I do love Colin Farrell's turn as villains the last couple of years. He was so good in this, and then the first Fantastic Beasts movie, I was so sad when he melted into Johnny Depp. I got nothing against Johnny Depp, but Colin Farrell was so good. Give me more of that. Don't shift him into Johnny. Stick with what was good.
And then we have Mads for this third one that we specifically didn't think was ever going to happen, but goddamn, they persevered, my friend.
oh no, they did, and I am going to have a field day when that movie comes out. But for the record, I love Mads Mikkelsen. So
Same.
Nothing else. I'm excited for that.
Man, if you haven't seen the Drunk movie where him and a bunch of his colleagues are trying to drink throughout the entirety of the day and do this another round, I think is what the Americans. This great movie. So
Danish cinema, they don't fuck around. There's a bunch of movies that I watch, and most especially when I was over there, where they're very cynical. They have the storytelling with a very, very cynical touch to it, that they have some dark humor and stuff that would have flew in America maybe 25 years ago, but now, you can't say this or that. And, they've got a bunch of stuff that they do in films that are, it feels like this is a movie made for grownups. And here we're going to, to hold your hand through a thing that, not everybody's going to like, but it's fiction. But not quite South Korean cinema, but it's up there.
I know your affinity for it. Yeah,
I'm falling for it. If there's one thing I'm going to miss is the ability to just grab South Korean movies and watch them on TV. I still have a laptop.
Have you watched
my uncle's great. I'm a liar. I'm such a liar.
On Netflix TV, have you watched All of Us Are Dead, by the way?
No.
It's a zombie series. Have you seen it, Fuego?
Yeah, it was a little long in the tooth with the 10 episodes, but I still really enjoyed it. And even the whole teenage drama of you have a crush on that person and you have a crush on that person that they do. But yeah, it was very solid. And I can't wait for a second season, which I think they greenlit already.
I think so too. Yeah, you're right. It had flaws, but overall, it was kind of a fun, wild ride. I recommended CP. It's self-referential in a way, because it's in the universe that the show is set. Train to Busan happened, so they reference Train to Busan.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So they talk about it constantly in it, actually, which is kind of funny.
So in the Batman, and I felt like what I said was something that has got to be beaten to death by now, but in the theater, I didn't realize how loud I was being. There's a shot where they first reveal the Riddler behind somebody. It's a horror movie shot. It's a really neat shot. And I said, bring in the GIMP. And look, my whole section just started laughing, and I was like, I still got it.
Okay,
but I would have figured that's everybody's first thought.
Well, it's funny that you bring up humor because this movie was actually pretty funny. I thought.
Yeah,
There was a couple of little moments that like the URL is kind of dumb, but it really got to me. Maybe it's just the way he said the line. I cracked up.
yeah, URL, yeah.
Yeah, it was Colin Farrell with some of that line delivery, "Sweetheart" and all that stuff. That was just
I liked Colin Farrell. I just wanted it just to turn it down just a little bit. Like in the car scene, he was just all jacked up, yelling at a chaos behind him, and it was just like
seeing the trailer where he's like, "I got you."
Yeah. I was just like, turn it down a little bit. Oh, that's another thing. I don't know what type of sound systems you guys watched your version of the Batman in, but when they start that Batmobile for the first time, I felt it in my spine. Like that I don't know what kind of sound design was going on there. It was nice, but another American thing. We love our cars,
muscle cars.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see a Batmobile, which just looks like a Charger with some super rocket on the back, as opposed to
flame rocket at that.
What?
A blue flame rocket at that, so it's like super hot.
Yeah, I liked it more than the tank from the Nolan stuff, but
I agree.
Not by much, honestly. I'm just that silly purist where the stuff in the Burton and the Schumachers was my favorite look. But yes, it's over the top. It's so cartoony and comic booky, and so in this particular iteration of Gotham, it wouldn't have made any sense. So
yeah,
I also really like the way that they kind of built up the car. Like, for so long in the movie, he's just driving this motorcycle, and that's fine. Motorcycles get you places, and they're, it's fine. But like, you see him like car parts all over like the Bat Cave, and he's like working on something. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of a cute way to like really build it up for that moment where the car comes out.
I like the false start. The fact that it didn't kick the first time. I'm like, yeah, there is something realistic. Thank you.
That was pretty cute. Yeah, actually, there was so many little moments like that in this movie. Like, and Bob brought it up in the chat, kind of going back to the comedy for a second. Like the thumb drive moment. Like, it's such an oddly dark little thing, and you don't really piece it together until it's like there. And because your brain just doesn't go there. That
remind me, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh!
So a thumb drive bit where the severed thumb and
I see. It just went right over my head.
3-hour movie. Something's gonna blow by you. Like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, sometimes pun is just like it doesn't. It's just a part of my nature, and I'm just like, right. That's a thing. I'm just so used to dad humor, so I guess.
And a really good joke I think everyone here can appreciate is when towards the end when the Riddler is just like, "All right, thanks guys for liking and subscribing."
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah. All right. So.
Also, they said he had a big following with 500 subscribers. I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, adorable, buddy.
Although very mobilized, and without getting super spoilery, that was a bit that I can't say that I really liked that much. Was the fact that I know in Rises they were going after like the financial sector and whatever, and in this it was more of the entitled like political sector and stuff.
Corrupt people in the government? No, that's never been done in a movie before.
Yeah, exactly. And also the whole some of the city destructiveness that goes down. I mean, the third act really felt like it just dragged for me personally, and that was where I was really feeling the length of the runtime, and the fact that Matt Reaves said that like earlier cuts were closer to 4 hours. It was just like, wow, really, dude? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the day after Batman. Nudge, nudge, hint, and wink, wink. If you get what I'm saying there, I guess not. No, but I kind of liked like the thing that you said you didn't like, Fuego, with like all the militarization. I thought that was kind of fun, but when you put that on top of the city, I don't know if we want to say what's happening to the city.
Things are going down.
dance
It's
around.
like a hat on a hat. Like you do one or the other. I don't think you need to do both. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just me.
I think it's funny that we always talk about movies being woke with their political messages about a girl being a lead or too many people of different ethnicities. Why is there no complaining about like the 4chan environment for this movie? Because that's kind of what was in this movie. It was basically 4chan, and I was like, I'd be offended if I were, I don't know, a Q person. And by Q, I mean cute. Wait, what happened?
Maybe they are offended, but they don't want to admit it because then they're like, "Oh man!" But then I have to admit I'm a Q guy.
Yeah, perhaps.
Cutie.
Wait, there was somebody that said something before that.
Oh man, if they called themselves cuties, I would actually kind of like them. That's endearing.
How do you feel about Dano screaming at the end? I thought it was a bit much.
I wanted more Dano throughout the whole movie. It was one of my.
Well, you had him, you just didn't have him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even so, and this is something that I also mentioned ad nauseum with Cecil, is the fact that at least for me personally, art is subjective, as I constantly contend and everything, and I've never been that into the criminal underworld sort of stuff in Gotham. I want the more fantastical villains. I want the mutated. I want the disfigured. I want all of that, as opposed to the Falcones and all that different stuff. And so for that reason, I wanted more Riddler, and I felt like he, for especially the second act, kind of became an afterthought as we were trying to resolve some stuff regarding the cat, and without spoiling things specifically. And
oh yeah, I completely missed her line, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but like everyone's been making us think about some line that she says, and I didn't even notice it. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it just really boils down to the fact that I'm not as into the whole mobster aspect of Gotham. I always have wanted scarecrows and man bats and clay faces and those more just crazy over the top sort of villains, as opposed to, I don't know. I know something very important about Gotham is the fact that it is this corrupt city with so much organized crime, and so then you have to eventually gravitate back to it. But I felt like Riddler, for a good chunk of the second act of the film, took kind of a backseat, and then they tried to thrust him back into it, and with followers and the dark web stuff and whatnot, and it was kind of too little too late, at least for me personally.
What's weird is we had that in The Dark Knight. Nolan's The Dark Knight, there were the five families or whatever it was. And
I prefer Begins to The Dark Knight. So
wow. But yeah, this isn't a superhero movie.
No.
I wouldn't call it a superhero movie at all.
Yeah, it's a crime drama. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery murder thing.
Yeah, somebody spilled 7 all over this Batman movie.
Yeah, they really did.
And again, I'm all for that. Like, if we want to do like, I don't know, like a Superman movie after this, where he's got to solve a crime, but he's Superman, so like he can't really do it because he's kind of a dum dum. I'm down for that. That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, Warner is a little hit. We talked about Sony before. Warner certainly. They have some Vaseline on their hands when it comes to holding on to decent property and doing the right thing.
Warner gives us like Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne. I will forgive so much of the things that they've done. That sounds amazing.
Wayne, Batgirl, and in Flash. I mean, why the hell not, right? I mean,
right? Just do it. You clearly got the guy.
Oh yeah, Jake. Good point. It's similar to Dragged Across Concrete, and then it's very long and has a lot of converging subplots. Dragged is a better film, though. I would agree.
I never actually saw Dragged Across Concrete.
It's quite good.
Yeah, that's the one with Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And Jennifer Carpenter kind of is in it. Kind of.
Who's Jennifer Carpenter?
Dexter's sister.
Also, Exorcism of Emily Rose, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. And she was also in the American version of the movie that was way better. That the fire station. It's gone. It's gone, guys. The brain. It's over.
Quarantine?
Yeah, quarantine. Yes.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
need to watch Rec because I actually do kind of like Quarantine, but I hear Rec is a lot better. So I'm just kind of
they had a sale on like a set. There was like all 4 Rec movies, and I was going to get it. This was a very long time ago, and life happened, and I never ended up getting it. And now I'm like, oh shit, yeah, Rec. I think that's. Is it Spain? It's not Mexico. I believe
it's South American, isn't it? Brazilian or something like that?
Oh, really? I know it's Spanish speaking, but not Mexico. Is the one thing I know.
Spanish, Spanish. Okay, what country though? You just keep
saying Rec. Just type in Rec.
No. I'm looking for the country of Oregon. It just keeps saying it's in Spanish. It's Spanish speaking actors.
Oh, right.
Oh no, we lost Fuego.
Fuego didn't like us talking about the other countries.
He must not be a fan of the Rec franchise. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, so here. So let's look at the director. Oh no, it is Spain. Yeah, the director.
Spain.
Yeah, he is from Spain. Yeah. Okay.
Man, very rarely am I right on my first thought. It's so rare.
Don't question yourself, man. You get it right more often.
Like, Jake says Quarantine is like Rec if Rec sucked. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think Quarantine's like a good movie, but I kind of enjoy it as like a take on zombie thing. So I think I would like Rec a lot more because if it's like
of that. Yeah, it was all right. It's a movie of its time, that's for certain.
Oh, okay.
What?
Did you see a movie called no one or almost no one saw it, but oh my God, what's it called? I had the name and it just went out of my head. Oh, he's back. Okay, The Cursed.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Fuego. Just because I was talking about Spanish speaking doesn't mean you just bail, man. I mean, geez. And you're still ignoring me. I get it. I know.
Am I back on?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my laptop went to its like reserve battery mode, and I thought I had way more time than
I
imagined. So
yeah, I figured as much. For like when it just drops like that, uh-oh.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of a hot take, right?
So, well, I was talking about Rec and being Spanish, and you took off, and I'm like, all right, Fuego, I get it. I'm wrong about which Spanish-speaking country it is.
So am I back on the YouTube then?
Oh yeah, we're all set and spread.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
what, Lindsay? Fuego, out of 5, what would you score The Batman?
I've been teetering, obviously. Once I get a second viewing in, I think I'll be able to kind of gauge it a little better. But right now, it's like a 3 to a 3.5 out of 5, probably. Yep. It is behind Begins, it's behind Returns, it's behind the 89 film for me. So, but it is ahead of Rises and obviously 66, which I rewatched the other day, which was just a hoot and a holler.
Eartha Kitt.
Shark repellent or bat shark repellent or whatever the hell. So yeah, but yeah, it's in that mid range for me, and I'm just still kind of trying to wrap my head around the fact that so many are saying it's the best Batman movie ever. I wonder if those people, once they revisit some of those other films like Dark Knight, which even though I don't hold that in the similar esteem of a lot of people, revisit some of the Burton stuff, but more so than anything, those
Cody.
I'm very happy they loved it as much as they did. Just because
Cody literally paid for me to go so that I'd watch it, and I feel terrible that I'm going to be like, all right, I have some stuff to pick on.
Yeah.
Thanks for the ride.
That's a good friend, though. That's cute. I like that. Like Cody's a good guy.
Yes, indeed he is. Yeah. And it was a nice little vacation. 3 hours.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, it was funny. I met up with a friend and we got something to eat beforehand, and we almost got sodas when we got the burgers, but then we're like, we're about to watch a 3-hour movie with previews. Maybe we
Well.
shouldn't get the soda.
Well, just zip down a little halfway and then make sure you don't ever drink out of that cup again. That's all.
Suddenly thinking of Dumb and Dumber, where he's like, "Back on Grandpa's old cough medicine, are you?" Pumpkin pie hair, and he takes a sip. Anyway,
Classic.
I
would say it's a B. Like maybe like a low.
I asked numbers, you give letters. What?
Okay. Well, you know what? It's 18 Batman Begins out of 26 Batman Rises. All right, you happy now? Like, no.
Out of 5, a B would be like what? 3? 3.5.
It's a 3.45692.
Okay. I think I'm right there with you guys. I and I need to watch it again to understand if the length will make me like it less.
Right.
The length certainly plays a factor.
Well, like I briefly did the Snyder cut earlier. Like I liked it. I did. I've got multiple videos on my channel saying I liked it, but it's 4 hours long, man. Who knows when the hell I'm going to watch it again?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about that one too. As much as I enjoyed it, and I'm just like, even when I was watching BBS, the Ultimate Cut the other day, it's a much better film at its 3-hour length. But I was just like, this feels like a bit of a slog too. So.
Where do you think all this "it's the best Batman movie ever" shit is coming from? Because it's it's not one or two people. It was enough for me to go in and be like, all right, I cannot wait. What the hell are we getting here?
Well, Bob had a good point. Like every superhero movie when it comes out is the best superhero movie for a month.
That is a brilliant point, Bob.
But I mean, it could be like a mix of like he did the crime solving thing. It could be the mix of Zoe Kravitz just being amazing in the role.
I really was smitten for Zoe Kravitz in that movie.
It's a gorgeous looking movie too, just like the cinema.
Oh yeah. That noir feel. Yeah.
Same guy who was the DP on Dune, if I'm not mistaken. And and the fact that they just created a vibe and a mood, and I know I used those words earlier, but because they did,
mood is movie speak. You're good.
I didn't dig the use of Nirvana personally, but
that was a little funny.
It was a little
something in the way is the use of that song 3 times too many.
Yeah, and
3 times.
It's at least twice, and that much. And I'm like, the same shit, guys. How much do you pay for this song that you're using it so much?
Oh, they're paying out their ass to use that movie. You better believe it. Yeah.
And it's funny. I started counting the number of times. I started counting the number of times I started hearing, not necessarily the singing of it, but Ave Maria. Like sometimes it'd be someone singing it. Sometimes just like the score.
It opens with it too. Yeah.
It was just everywhere throughout the movie. It's like I get it, like it's cool, but I think we're at 5 times now, guys.
I have to give a lot of credit to Giacchino's score though. The way it built from just those little like bassier piano notes and just it did up the tension factor and make everything feel so much darker and just more like the ambiance of oncoming dread.
Dude, Giacchino's
he's
good.
the shit. Yeah.
He's good. I always thought Lost had a score that was far better than anything television should have. And his Mission Impossible score was quite incredible.
His work on the Star Trek reboots is like, I don't know how you became more iconic than the original series theme song, but they did it somehow. And you guys know I don't like Rogue One, but the music in that movie is quite good, and he did it.
Who did we lose for that? I remember liking the first choice, and then we lost that person, and I was like,
I auditioned for Screen Junkies using that story. Who was it? It was I'm gonna look it up. I did a whole fake news video about that.
It wasn't Bear McCreary? No, it wasn't him. Shit, I'm trying to think.
It might have been Bear McCreary, actually.
It might have been Bear now that I think. But I mean, for Giacchino to really stand out the way that he did, with the fact that between Elfman and Zimmer, there's been so many iconic scores already. It was one of my absolute favorite things about this. I know I've given some derision and some of my more negative thoughts, and like I'm not trying to completely focus upon those, because as far as the look of this film and just the sound design and the score specifically. Like, this is accomplished filmmaking for sure.
Yeah, and you can hear some of the old original stuff, and it's not like forced. You're like,
No,
oh,
at
that's
all.
cool. There's a little Elfman there.
Yeah.
You know, not beating it down my throat or anything, but yeah, that was cool.
Mhm.
Alexander Desplat, by the way, was the original.
Oh,
Yeah. Fantastic Mr. Fox, Shape of Water, Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom, that kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So he's done a lot of work with Homie. Okay.
I think he also did some of the Harry Potter movies too. I could be wrong.
wait,
about that.
he was the original for Rogue One, and then they got rid of him.
Or at least that's what the internet told me.
Hmm.
Did the internet lie to me?
How dare you?
I want to say it was somebody I really who did
Something
this.
this way, perhaps.
There's something in the way. Who did the score for Requiem for a Dream? Clint Mansell, is that his name?
Mm.
I think it was. I don't know why I'm putting his name in it, but I thought it was Clint Mansell.
Yeah, talk about a score there that everybody is caught
Oh,
through their own devices at this particular.
oh,
It is Clint Mansell who did the Requiem.
okay. Maybe I just wanted it to be him, and that's it.
You just always wanted to be Clint Mansell.
But yeah, Lindsay, you've been dancing. Three. Well,
No, it's a very solid 3.5. Yeah, like I'll just give it to that. Like again, the it's a little long in the tooth to a point where it is a little frustrating, and I don't know if we needed Batman in a disaster movie like we got at the very end of the movie.
yeah.
It's one of my biggest gripes. I didn't like the third act, and it felt anticlimactic, not worthy of all of the tension that was built throughout the film. I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, cool.
And like I could have seen it work like if they really like swung into it and like really swung into like Batman pulling people out of wreckage and like carrying people on his back and stuff like that. Because like I did like that the movie took him from like the dark and brooding to like brooding and hopeful at the end of the movie. That was kind of like an interesting thing to see Batman do. But like I don't know. The Gotham flooding did seem a little superfluous.
Yeah.
And we didn't see a lot of like Gotham actually flooded. It was like relegated specifically to that Madison Square Garden like stand-in sort of place, and so for that reason, it just didn't have as much of an impactful, sort
It
of.
was kind of cool, like the car
Gotham Square Garden.
Like some of those shots were definitely dope, but yeah.
Daniel Skinner, $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Daniel. Love all your 1999 video CP. Keep up what you're doing. I appreciate that, sir, but please spread the word on those 1999 videos. The final piece is coming this week. December of 99 is coming this week. But yeah, again, it far underperformed for the work that was put into it. I'm not saying that no matter what I say, it's going to come out like I'm complaining, but it was a project that I really had a lot of excitement for, and it just didn't catch on. So whatever, enjoy it. Thanks for the enjoyment.
Yeah,
Most stuff.
What the hell am I doing? Just keep digging, CP. Keep digging.
Well, that's a reality of YouTube. Sometimes we all face. It's like like I've got a big project coming up right now for I mentioned it earlier, Arcane, the Netflix series that's based on the video game League of Legends. I adore it, and like I keep sitting down and working on it. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I spent like a week working on the intro alone, and it's gonna get like 80 views at the most.
Yeah.
I've come to terms with it.
King Shark. Just do King Shark. See, like that.
Yeah.
That's part of the confusion.
Mhm.
Stand-up comedy, I was really good at being able to adapt because you'd get the responses in real time, and especially when I was performing twice in one night, you'd get the responses and then be able to adapt and just kind of tinker a little bit. This I don't know what people want. I mean, my Irreversible video just constantly gets watched, and I'm like, all right, you want me to talk about a 10-minute grape without a G scene? Is that what you want me to do on this channel? It's so strange. And then then there's this stuff where people are like, I really enjoy blank, and you look and it's like 112 views, and you're like, did you watch it yourself 100 times because nobody else does?
Yeah, it makes me think of a friend of ours on Nightmare on Film Street, where she was like, "Why am I trying to YouTube when that 200 million views for a horse going and farting on a dog is one thing that everybody is like going back to rewatch constantly?" So I don't know. It's insufferable to that regard, but
it's strange. And TikTok is is taking some people over. And you know what I say? If teenagers want to do the TikTok thing, go. I go. I like long form way better than I mean, every frame of painting is something I'd much rather watch than.
Yes, that was a great channel, though. Oh my god.
Then I don't know, half the stuff.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. Like if there's when I watched the anime Sword Art Online, I hated it. And so I instantly I went on YouTube. I'm like, Sword Art Online. I want to watch people ripping this thing apart. And I mean, okay, 5 minutes not long enough. I did 45 minutes. Let's go. I really wanted someone to help me process my feelings, and I found a channel that I utterly adored because of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then there is a lot of great short form content out there, like Pitch Meeting, like Fuego's favorite channel now.
Yeah.
And also,
one of my faves, man. I mean, I watch every episode. So yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. I think I was like the 19th viewer on one 2 months ago, and I squeed.
Yeah, shout out to Dice Roland, who's somebody horror community. Dice does something rather impressive. It's always 2 videos that gets released. They release a review and then a things you may not know about, and it's a really, really good idea that I feel like just once one of those really catches it, they're gonna go back and check out the catalog, and it'll it'll catch on. It's just what I wanted to say. It's just catch on.
When you say the same word twice in a sentence, though.
Yeah. Catch on and catching. Just keep catching on and on catching. Because we've been through so many fads. I mean, shit, Lindsay, you and I, we go back close to a decade now.
Don't say that out loud. It's
where and Bob too, but I guess we could have had a turn back the clock show. There's so many different fads that happen in movie YouTube that it's so strange. Like the ending explained thing, it was so weird. Like why what do you need the ending of Fast and the Furious 9 explained for? What
it still seems to be a thing for some. I mean, I still see them pop up on some of the bigger channels, but
yeah.
I'm not going to pretend like I fully understand that, but hey, man, when you find something and it works and people watch it, it feels like there's a reason why I did 6 months of King Shark content.
No, I don't get me wrong. I was beating that Halloween Kills horse quite a bit when I was finally able to talk about it
2 years later.
Yeah.
Even after all your warnings, I still was not ready for how bad that movie was.
Dude, they changed the ending.
Oh, you did say that.
They changed the ending.
I remember you saying that.
How drastically? I forgot. Like what was it before? Can you mention? Ooh.
Oh,
that's the FBI coming for you because you're talking about that.
Well, you know what? Even if they come after me for the NDR, I'd go ahead, take the nothing I have left. You idiots. Part of it,
and they take the thing the chain that the keychain that Brian Lomax gave you.
So they have part of it if you watch the Blu-ray or the extended edition on home media. The ending, the original ending, was Karen in Michael's bedroom looking out the window, which does happen, but it's either she calls or Lori calls, and she says something like, "We got him. It's over. We got him." And then Michael Myers comes in and just pummels her, and Laurie Strode is there listening to it on the phone. And then you hear the phone get picked up, and then she says, "Michael, I'm coming for you." And it was like, fucking A.
Okay.
It sounds a little more effective, honestly.
No, it was. I remember thinking, when I saw it, I went back and watched 2018. I'm like, yeah, they're going somewhere with this. It's really interesting. But now apparently they're going to fast forward 4 years in the future for Ends. So what are you doing?
That can't be real. No.
Yeah. They're fast forwarding, dude. I say, go to the multiverse where the ending I just gave you is the ending, and do it the same night, because you know what? Have Jamie Lee. I was at a point where I was like, just kill Jamie Lee already. But now that her daughter got, spoiler for Halloween Kills, now that she's had a death that's close to her, and she was already all PTSD'd out about Michael Myers. Now that she's got something like some rage fueled in her, I want just a square down. Let it be Freddy versus Jason, but Laurie versus Michael, and have them both die at the end. Fuck them.
That'd be cool. They just kill each other off. Yeah, but how did the one that we got end? Like they did the fake out beating the crap out of him in the street, and then he's just fine for some reason, and then he just magically gets inside the house that's completely surrounded by cops. And
they cut a lot. They skimped between that the entire town just pummels Michael Myers, and this 60-year-old man that you never really had an idea is a superhuman is just taking it. He's just taking every shot you got. Okay. And I don't remember, but something happens where they get to Michael Myers' house. They trimmed a bit towards the end there. I mean, I won't say that there was notes that I took, but they didn't match. If I did,
interesting.
And I was quite frustrated because I released the review before it was out, and people are like, what did you watch? And I'm like, not this. I swear I didn't see this. This isn't what I watched.
I'm trying to remember what the difference is, because I did something similar. It's been a while since I've been to one of those screenings, but I used to go to them all the time. But Sinister, the Ethan Hawke movie, directed by Scott Derrickson, written by Cargill, C. Robert Cargill, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But then the sequel is utter horseshit. And I caught an early screening of it like 6-7 months before it came out, and the ending was similar but drastically different, to the point where I felt like I was watching a completely different movie. Like it was like the same house, same location and stuff like that, but like I don't remember. It's been too long, but I just sat there going like, what did they respond to my notes of your ending sucked and they completely redid it and made it worse? How did this happen?
Jake's got the nail on the head. You have focus groups to blame. And while at that screener, if they let me have my camera, I would have taken a picture of the diverse audience that there was, that were merely just there to watch a free movie. Right. And they're giving everybody the same piece of paper to judge the movie on. And it's like, they'll never watch this movie, regardless of if you change what they're expecting you to. They'll never watch this movie. They're too young for this movie. They just like cover the playing field with as many different types of people as possible. It kind of reminds me of election night, where it's not cool to talk about people's ethnicities and things like that. But on election night, it's like, well, Trump's doing really well with unemployed black males in Tallahassee. And it's just like, whoa.
So
What-
another one of those movies that I caught like that was, oh, what was it called? The movie with George Clooney that it's like making fun of Mad Money, where he's like an investment guy. He's got like a TV show and it's like a live broadcast.
Oh,
Whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm not crazy. That's all I care about. This movie exists.
Is that
It's not Good Night, Good Luck, is it?
No. It
is
was
that
a
the one
while
where he
back.
gets held hostage and they
Yeah.
take him to a bank? Yeah,
Yes, yeah, that movie.
yeah, I remember that.
So they're collecting all the pages from everyone afterwards, and they took the one from the one to my right, and they looked at it and they're like, "Oh, could you hang out for a little bit longer and kind of just go down to this little area over there?" They took mine, didn't say anything. Took the one from the one to my left, like, "Oh, could you just hang out?" So I'm like, "Okay, what did you guys say that got you and that I didn't?" And the guy to my right said he would never watch this movie again, and the person to my left said they absolutely adored it, and I just kind of said it was all right.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I'm like, so you just were polar opposite extremes of each other? Like,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense, but it also feels like that's going to really skew interpretations. I don't know. Maybe I'm
And that's why I'm kind of glad that the studio system's kind of, burning their own feet. Let filmmakers make films again.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I mean, public test screenings have been cut back significantly too in the midst of all of this craziness. The last one I went to was the Mark Wahlberg Infinite, and that was yeah, and that film. I mean, I've been watching with unfinished special effects, and
Yeah.
the movie was trash, by the way, which is why I didn't even care to watch the final product. But
I'm still waiting for the movie that I got kicked out of, which still has not come out.
it was a
Die,
Blumhouse.
Sweetheart, Die, and I'm like, was it that bad? I almost really want to know what it was now that you showed it and then never decided to do anything with it.
I love watching things with unfinished special effects. I caught Pride and Prejudice with zombies as one of those screenings. And not a great movie at all, but there's this scene where someone's on horseback running. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's got some kind of cute, fun moments in it. It's not totally forgettable. But there's a scene where someone's like riding a horse away from a bunch of zombies, and then they cut to like the previs of it, and it's like a stick figure horse with a stick figure on top of it, just sliding across a green field with T-posing zombies just following it. It was incredible. The entire theater lost it, and it was so good.
Sorry, Felix. We were talking about Batman. I mean, the title of the episode is Batman, and we've done maybe 2 minutes worth of Batman discussion. We had a lot to catch up with.
Yeah.
Felix.
Oh, Money Monster. Thank you, Zachary. Money Monster. That was
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Money Monster, yeah.
I forgot. That reminded me of Al Pacino. Come on.
Don Pacino?
1975. It's one of my favorite movies. Oh, yep.
Scent of a Woman.
Nope.
The Devil's Advocate.
No, where he robs the bank.
Good movie, Devil's Advocate.
Just trying
Wow.
Al Pacino movies as I think of them.
It's literally in my top 10. I can't think of it. Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh,
That's
a good one. Yeah.
That's
okay.
what Money Monster reminded me of, was Dog Day Afternoon. And Jake, half a second earlier, and you would have saved me. But yes, Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
Do we?
Wait, what? So what was the line that Catwoman said that upset a lot of people online? Because nothing even clicked on my radar that would register as that. Anyone? Any idea? Anyone?
I know that Zoe today was saying in the press that she auditioned for Dark Knight Rises and didn't get the role, and she.
Shit, what was she, 17 back then?
That was what a lot of people were pointing out to, and she. Yeah, you don't really want to get into it, because of the fact that it was bringing, racial prejudice into it, and that's what she was at least throwing at Nolan and his crew.
Oh, really?
And so, but I think age and, various other things could have potentially factored in, but, I thought she was terrific in this. So, regardless of what happened on Rises and the casting process, I was not a big fan of Hathaway in that role anyway, so I could have easily gone for something else. But
yeah, that was them just going after a name. With Rises, and
was that before or after she got the Oscar? I can't remember.
It was like either right before or right after. It was close to it.
Yeah, I know it was before Colossal. I know it was before. the Something Getting Married, the one where she was just like this scathing bitch of a character.
Rachel
And
getting married.
Rachel Getting Married, yeah, yeah. And Anne Hathaway is a very talented actress, man. But that was terribly miscast.
Yeah, listen, I'm rather smitten for her, but between her and Zoe Kravitz, I want to go on a date with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah,
her version of Catwoman, of course.
There's still something about Julie Newmar back in the day, man. I don't know. When I was rewatching 66, and I was like, wow, how did I forget about how
Eartha Kitt?
Eartha Kitt for life. Eartha Kitt for life. Yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer too. Like you can't. The woman Michelle Pfeiffer put a bird in her mouth. How can you not?
Michelle Pfeiffer, that outfit does a lot of work.
They vacuum sucked her into it. It definitely put in work for her. But then like she's got those lines where she's like flipping, standing in front of the cops. Meow.
Yeah, meow. She was just a little too much for me.
Like the scenes with her as Selena, I really appreciate, most notably the one where she realizes that Bruce is actually Batman, where they're dancing like near the end of the second act, and she looks at him after he says something to her, and she realizes who he is, and she's like, "Do we need to start fighting?" Like I don't know why that line just has always resonated with me so much, where she's like, okay, we're supposed to hate each other, but it's just that long-term confliction between the characters, which, they get married in the comic books eventually. And so,
Ben Grimm.
That quiet moment. Sorry, Stevie. That quiet moment between the two of them when they're just dancing, trying to still hold on to what they were 2 seconds before the truth came out. So good.
Yeah. Ben Grimm says nobody mentions Halle Berry. And for good reason, Ben. She's fantastic. She looks fantastic, but that movie doesn't change any of that. So sorry.
I think she nailed what she was given, but what she was given was so bad, it doesn't matter that she nailed it.
I think that was the end of Sharon Stone, too. Sharon Stone wasn't...
She was in that movie. Yeah.
See?
She was a makeup mogul.
So, those of you may or may not be surprised to hear that Emily's not the biggest Batman fan. I've told this story before about how she's laughed during Bane scenes when I've watched Dark Knight Rises, and it makes me like very angry and uncomfortable, and I just want her to leave the room or wear headphones because I'm all into it. Those scenes. I expected her to not like this, and she like we're like 2/3 of the way through the movie at this point, and she like visibly, threw a hissy fit. And I was like, what's going on? Are you right? She goes, can they say one complete sentence in this movie? And I'm not kidding you. The next line after she said that was no guns. And I was laughing my ass off, and people were like, what the hell? Why is he laughing? That's not funny. It was so fucking funny. I was like, what? So now I have to rewatch it to see if the script is kind of light.
I mean,
it's so funny.
On dialogue, and it's a lot of like staring and brooding, and whether it's the funeral scene, whether it's where the first
stage direction in the script,
standing and looking, that sort of thing, But once again, they were just trying to create an eerie vibe, and I feel like when you have less dialogue and definitely less exposition, you can kind of create that eeriness a little bit better, perhaps.
For 3 hours?
Yeah, that's
less dialogue and less exposition. I would hope.
How did you guys feel about the narration? It annoyed me at first, but it did kind of grow on me after a while. Did you guys mind it?
I was all right with it. It was all right.
Yeah, that's kind of like it wasn't like Blade Runner levels of bad, but wasn't like elevating the movie levels of good either, if that makes sense. But by the end, I don't know, it worked in a weird way.
Which version of Blade Runner has that?
The original. They were like the theatrical cut version of it.
Yeah, that's right, because I've watched the second, the director's cut, and then the final cut. But I don't know if I've ever watched the OG, and I love that film. So interesting.
I didn't see it until right before the new one, and I feel like a bad person for it because that was a good movie, man. I really liked it, and the new both of them, both Blade Runner movies are great.
there's the new animated series actually that was on Crunchyroll that I haven't checked out yet. But
Oh,
Black Mantis, Black something. I don't know.
something like that. I forgot about that. Yeah, I should watch that. Okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to. But,
I have
sorry.
Crunchyroll right now because Attack on Titan. I might as well.
So something I was going to bring up earlier, and again, I liked the movie. It's just it was long. It felt it. We had a problem at the theater when I watched it, but again, agoraphobic. Going outside to everything's a bad time to me. So just take that, whatever. When I like hear all this greatest Batman movie ever talk, and it was 3 or 4 days of this, and even Cody for him to flip the bill and say you got to see this and we could talk about it. I was like, all right. I hate doing it. I'd much rather think a movie's going to be shit and be pleasantly surprised than
Absolutely.
go into a movie thinking it's going to be awesome and be like, oh. But that's what I could not help but do that. And, with all the comparisons, I saw an argument, it might have been on Twitter, which I don't know why on earth I'd be doing anything on Twitter. Somebody said, why would you want to watch, because they were making the comparisons. Somebody said, why would you want to watch 7 when you now have the Batman? And I was going to reply, but I was like, no, fuck it. If I want to watch The Heat, you could get me to watch The Dark Knight instead, and I'll have a good time and be all right with it. If I want to watch 7, I'm not putting on the Batman for a myriad of reasons.
One, you would never want to see Zoe Kravitz's head in the box, whereas Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
No,
there's that goop in there. That's why.
Sliding doors. Come on. Anyway.
Also, 7. It's more about just people being shit, where the Batman is about like the system being shit. So like
Gotham shit. Look, everybody's kind of shit in Gotham. That was kind of his point. In that, I mean.
Well, even Bruce's family too, which they've explored in I think a few years, which was an alteration of Thomas Wayne and his political aspirations, and even Bruce himself and his entitlement, his privilege. I know that was something that I don't know if it was as blatant within the film, but I know a lot of people are referencing it as a big thing in this particular iteration. So
I listen. I don't have any much knowledge of the comics and stuff like that, but. What they did with the Wayne family, that kind of raised my eyebrows, and I was like, "Oh, all right."
Were you guys a little disappointed when like so much is set up for Riddler knows who Batman is,
and I've seen people because I thought that scene, Lindsay, like he was saying Bruce, as in he knew that he was. Who he actually is, and Diesel disagreed with me and was like, no, he was almost like I know you're working with Bruce was what he was implying, and I've seen a lot of people disagree about that, and I was more on the fence of the former, where I thought that he kind of figured it out, but
well, I
go ahead, speak. I'm sorry.
I do genuinely believe that Riddler, Dano, whatever, he thought that the Batman and him were doing things for the same reasons. At that moment where they have that discovery, I do believe that's what he thought, that we're doing this for the same reasons. And like it just hits him then, like, wait, what? But
and the whole mistaken friendship connection thing that Dano's Riddler is so enamored with, and then that's why he's so disappointed as things kind of play out. But
that was the other thing that kind of pissed me off a bit. I want to know what Bruce Wayne's education is, because he knew all the riddles and was the first with detectives around and just it was a bit much. All right, I stand.
Yeah, it was the same in Batman Forever, and even in.
You're right there, but it felt like it was more here.
Oh, for sure, and definitely a more gruesome, grotesque sort of approach to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little Saw-ish. which was inspired by Seven. But
Actually, no. Saw inspired Seven. It's a time paradox.
Yeah, because James Wan had the short film, the little proof of concept he put together in the early '90s. How about the cameo where Riddler is stuck in Arkham and you hear the voice talking to him? I know a lot of people have misgivings about that person being there, and Matt Reaves confirmed it is who we thought it was.
Yeah, that's Druig from Eternals, right? Everyone's favorite movie.
Oh, but he's in Killing of a Sacred Deer. Like, he's in tons of awesome stuff. He's a killer actor.
I don't know him as the Joker.
Yeah,
I know the actor. I had to look him up afterwards. I was expecting the buzz to be about the guy who's in Shameless, who has the smile. He was on the TV show. Redheaded kid. He's probably like 40 now. He was also the main character of the Star Wars Jedi game from 2 years back or whatever.
Fallen Order or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I thought, not knowing, I thought, oh, that'd be cool. He's Joker, cool, and it wasn't. And I was like, well, I don't know who that is. I don't know him. I don't know him as Joker. So,
I kind of remember him in Dunkirk. I think I remember liking him in that, and he was one of the Eternals I wanted to spend more time with, but the movie wouldn't do it. So maybe this Joker can do it,
Killing of a Sacred Deer, man. He plays kind of a villainous kid in that one. That Colin Farrell, ironically enough, has. He basically, like, it's earlier in the film, but he takes this kid and like locks him away and kind of tortures him. It's a weird film. Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos, I want to say the great director. Strange movie, but really good. The kid is great in it.
I wonder if his Joker will kidnap Penguin and torture him a little bit.
Bring it on in the HBO Max series that they say is still happening, but it's going to veer more so to like Arkham and be less about the Gotham Police Department like was initially reported. So that's interesting. I guess.
Already have the Gotham Police Department movie.
Yeah.
Matt Reaves made some incredible apes movies that I would call them the best in their series. They're best in their franchise. Those Matt Reaves apes movies are incredible.
I call that like one of the best trilogies of the last 10 years.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. How do you think his Batman floats against the rest?
I mean, it floats down there, it floats up there.
We all float down here.
I'm really glad you guys got that reference, because otherwise I'd sound like an insane person.
Like, talk about weird Batman connections, because Burton also did Planet of the Apes film, which I think is underrated. It's not great, but I mean the makeup work alone. I mean, look at Tim Roth and think you can recognize him, dude. I mean, not a chance.
My feelings on that movie aren't strong, but goddamn was that makeup good! Like, holy shit! Like, anyway, so I'm just gonna start swearing and admiration. And
I still knew who Charlton Heston was, though. I'm like, yep, there he is, Charlton Heston.
I know Kevin Smith is still sore about the ending of that movie because he claims that Burton and his crew ripped his Jay and Silent Bob comic off, which is funny.
Oh
yeah, with the Lincoln Memorial at the end. So
that's amazing. I never heard that.
Yeah, he did that in a comic a couple years before. So
I mean,
I saw Kevin Smith at Comic-Con one time. He seems like such a down-to-earth dude.
Oh yeah,
that you ripped him off. That something must have really irked him for that.
Yeah, I don't think Hollywood is for good people. I really don't. That's just my thoughts.
I never saw Tusk, but I did really like his the one he did after that with some of the same characters. Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers. Yeah,
I kind of like that.
I like the movie he did before Tusk with John Goodman. Red State. I thought was awesome.
Yeah, with the whole religious fanaticism aspect.
Nobody complained about that movie too. It's so strange. You've avoided again, Lindsay. Where would you put Matt Reeves's iteration of the Batman versus the rest of the franchise. There's like 12 live action versions of Batman.
So I think my favorite Batman is Dark Knight. Well, my favorite Batman is Kevin Conroy, but my favorite Batman movie is Dark Knight. Then probably Mask of the Phantasm. And then
we're counting animated now.
Oh,
Shit.
okay, fine. Okay. So Dark Knight, Batman Returns, Batman Begins, and then I'd probably say that's this one. Like this is above the Snyder stuff. This is above the Dark Knight Rises. I do not like that movie. I strongly do not like Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I can't see it either. That Bane voice, oh, the ADR is so awful. It just drives me nuts.
The original one was better.
Yeah, I still remember it from the trailer, but
we can't hear him. And then you watch the movie, and then like his voice is the only thing you hear in the fixed version.
Loud. Yeah, it's nuts. And Nightfall was like when I was a kid, the Nightfall comic, the breaking of the bat in issue 11 was just, it was so iconic and so crazy. And I love the stuff with Azrael and John Paul Valley afterwards, and then how Bruce has to kind of rehabilitate and get him to, so I'm nerding out, sorry. But so for that reason, I think I was a lot harder on Dark Knight Rises. That was one where I had those midnight tickets for it. I watched the two previous leading up to it that night. Like they had this whole theater experience.
Oh yeah. Those are always fun.
Yeah,
I actually did that for Planet of the Apes for the third one. I watched the first two in the theater, and then it went into the last one. That was fun.
Yeah, but maybe by that point I was a little harsher on Rises, because rewatching it this past week, I still really don't like the Bane stuff, but I like the Talia stuff. I'm still not
to death.
Anne Hathaway, but and I don't like the Robin kid either. So maybe I'm trying to give a positive.
Yeah,
and I'm not too big on that movie. So
I feel like
trying.
I feel like because the third act of Batman Begins was so good, and The Dark Knight was so good, I actually liked the first act or two of Rises, and they, you can only be good for so long. I feel like by the third act, they're just like, all right, let's just be a plain old regular shit movie now, guys. We can't do it anymore.
I know it's a nitpick, but I just hate the fact that movie's entire plot is contingent on stocks that were sold under mysterious circumstances, while the stock market was under the control of terrorists. I mean, like, are you kidding me?
That would totally fly.
I mean, the National Guard guys, like the big time government doesn't even come in for how long afterwards, and they're putting people out to walk on the ice to die, and it's just. And despite being almost 3 hours, it feels rushed to me as far as character development goes. And it's a film I have a lot of issues with in that trilogy. So
I did like that they make Cillian Murphy the judge who sends people out on it, because I like how he was just in all those movies as just like a little throwaway part.
Yeah.
That was
not in my diagnosis. That was from The Dark Knight. Jake says, seeing Dark Knight Rises in the theater, not awkward at all. Nope, nothing crazy happened around that period of time. And I know what we're talking about.
I do too.
And unfortunately, we've had so many in this country, maybe some people don't remember.
Yeah.
I did see a midnight show, but I'm here in New York. So by the time I was home, the news was, hey, some shit's going on in Colorado. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, I saw when I came home on my laptop, because being in Arizona, it was, I think we were same time zone as Colorado at that particular time of year. So yeah, I was like, oh, what a delight. I didn't like the movie, and then something way more horrible by an exponential level had happened. So
yeah. I feel like, for our parents and our grandparents, the crazies went after people in the government. And I think lately the crazies are going after each other, and the government just doesn't care. And that's the only difference. I mean, JFK, Martin Luther King, and RFK all murdered within a decade of each other. And they were trying to do some serious shit. And I don't know. I don't know what my genuine point is. I just feel like we used to be pissed at people in control, and now
Pissed at each other.
Well, not we. They. They used to be pissed at people in control. Now it's just every man for himself, and I don't know. I don't know. We've been better. We've been better, America. We need to be better.
I agree.
Yeah, must have.
We need to go back to a time when no one knew who Dinesh D'Souza was. He's got another movie coming out.
Hey, did you know that Abe Lincoln was a Republican? Did you know that? And the people that wanted slavery, they were Democrats. Did you know that?
I always forget you actually watched Hillary's America. I love that about you.
The worst movie I watched that year.
Oh, without a doubt.
Not even close.
Well, if you watch the sequel, it's worse. But well, sequel, his next movie. Anyway, we're getting it. Yeah.
And then he got bailed out by 45. We fuck. Oh, television president.
Seriously.
Anything left on the Batman?
It was pretty.
I'm shocked that we're all kind of in the same shoulder shrug category for something that's just getting blown all over the internet.
Well, I mean, I really did like it a lot. It's just the 3-hour runtime is just a big thing. That's all.
I think technically it was a very well made movie. I think it was a very, very things that Joe Rotten Tomatoes won't understand what the hell he's looking at. Won't understand what they're looking at. It's very good to that, but when it comes to the movie's long. The movie's long, and it's far from perfect.
There's a lot of long movies these days. Was Dune 3 hours, or was it just shy of 3 hours? I can't remember.
It's right around that runtime. I would have to double check, but
we're getting a second one, right? We're getting a part 2 or whatever.
Okay, so it was about 20-something minutes shorter, 2:35.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think is a little more reasonable. I mean, this was the longest runtime for any Batman movie ever. Although maybe that ultimate cut of BVS was a little bit, but then that wasn't like released properly in theaters. So,
Zach. There's actually a funny story about Dune. I got there like 2 minutes late, so I missed the title of Dune Part 1. So I'm just watching the movie being like, yeah, this is dope. This has been going on for a while. I don't think this is going to end satisfactory. Oh, they're doing a cliffhanger. Oh, okay.
I did forget that too. I was just like, we're getting pretty close here. They're going to wrap this up, or all right. We're doing one of those.
I did like Dune. Holy shit, that was a crazy experience.
I had a good time. I've never seen the original, and I've been told to not, because I enjoy the new Dune. So
I tried watching it in middle school, and I just bounced right off. I knew the basics. I knew spice. I knew travel. I knew the desert planet and warring houses, but I just couldn't get into it, and just turned it off.
Yeah,
I have a soft spot for the David Lynch one, but then again, I watched it when I was really little, and so it's silly at times though. But I mean, Sean Young and the rest of the cast are all pretty solid. So
David Lynch is hysterical if you hear him like during interviews and shit. Yeah. But holy shit, the dude is the most forward, real guy. I mean, they ask him about Dune. He's like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. They give me these pictures and whatever. Like he's just
what's the interview where someone's like, "Could you explain what you were going for?" And blah 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 blah. And he's like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why the Jodorowsky that they were trying to make in the 70s was going to have Pink Floyd doing the score and everything. If you've seen that documentary, it is
Jodorowsky's Dune is just like shit, that guy who passed away from was it AMC, or I know he did the Schmo show a lot.
John Schnepp. Yeah.
Oh, John Schnepp. His almost Superman movie was incredible. Like all of these movies about movies that haven't happened you're like, Jesus,
Mhm.
what
Yeah,
are we doing?
he'd actually signed a deal with AMC, the television channel, before he passed away, where he was going to be doing a series that every new episode was going to be examining one of those, like didn't happen sort of situations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, it was canceled. He was no longer around. So yeah, met him a few times. He was great. So.
Oh, you did? Yeah, man, that that was a kick in the teeth when I read that he was gone. Like,
Yeah.
It's
asked about
him and the Total Biscuit. If you're into internet gaming, very young, got cancer, and it just incredible guy, great content, and
I think I never really noticed it in film, but death on the internet is got it's not that it's personal. It's just got this weird flavor to it. Like, there's like I could die tomorrow, and you could watch this 6 months from now and be like, oh yeah, I wonder what he's doing today. It's just very strange, like the vlog culture, the like speaking in the now. I can't put words to all night. There's been things I've been saying that I'm like, vocabulary, try it. But it's just very interesting when somebody dies that has a online presence.
Yeah.
Like who was it that died and their social media just stopped? Somebody who like I don't remember who it was within the last 2 or 3 years, and somebody who like tweeted like 4 or 5 times a day, and then somebody made a note of the fact that he just didn't tweet anymore, and it's just wow, interesting.
It's hard. It's harsh, man.
Yeah. See, you think about all these classic people, Abraham Lincoln, famous last words. There's the famous last words thing. We have all these cameras in front of us now, and now people, what were his last words? I'm gonna get a pizza. Oh yeah, you put that one in the book.
One of the most heartbreaking episodes of How I Met Your Mother dealt with that, like a father's last words to his son. And it's like How I Met Your Mother doesn't always hit, but that episode really fucking hit me hard. Just like, because like, what's the last thing my dad's ever going to say to me, or my mom, or like, what's the last thing I'm ever going to say to someone that I care about? And
I had a bit of a tough time with family members during my when I got married the first time. An uncle who I hadn't seen in a while showed up, and he was the only of my mom, the only of 6 to show up at the wedding. And he pulled me aside before he left, and he said, we're okay, no matter what. Just remember, we're family.
Oh my God.
He died of a heart attack 2 weeks later, and I was like, "That's my goodbye. You can't top that. I wouldn't ask for a better goodbye. Just no matter what, we're always family." That's what he said. Those are his last words to me, and I was like, "Okay, yep, that's a pretty close book in my opinion."
Yeah, that's like providential intuition, man. I mean, just being able to, maybe not cognizantly sense that, but
right.
Yeah, prophetic in that regard. And you guys are to pull it back to movies real quick. There is one of the best scenes in that Cyrano movie where the French forces are all about to rush, and many of them to their death, and all of these different soldiers are being afforded the last letter that they can send to one particular loved one, and it's a music number, and the song is "Heaven is Wherever I Fall," and it's them, and one guy is writing his wife, one guy is writing his father. It's powerful shit. It's really, really good. One of my favorite scenes of that entire film. So yeah, props to Joe Wright, man. Props to Joe Wright.
I love me some Joe Wright. I love Peter Dinklage, and I adore the story of Cyrano. I really should see that.
I think I'm going to keep something in my wallet that says, "If you find me dead, please say that my last words were, 'Guess who farted?'" and that's it.
Same, but my wallet message will be Tomorrowland still sucks.
Guy just takes the money and leaves a note. Apparently Mr. Patterson died of a robbery, and to pour salt in the wound, the robber left a note that said, "Guess who farted?" That's tragic.
The real CP fans though, they understand. They
Fans, both of them.
hey, we got dice in here, and
there's half. So we have what's the like cinema still isn't back by any stretch.
Not full-fledged for sure. I mean, there's even no major release that's coming up this upcoming Friday. Like, everybody cleared away from Batman. They were like, nope, we're not gonna. There's no big tentpole release this weekend. And as I try to bring some stuff up, I mean, there's some movie called Gold that has Zac Efron coming out. That's really the only big thing that's coming out, not this Friday, but the following Friday on the 18th. So it's kind of clear, much more so than you would anticipate for, this time of year when the summer season would start at the end of February in some cases.
Yeah, so. These numbers, 44 million for opening Ghostbusters Afterlife, especially considering what happened in 2016. 38 million for Matrix. That stuff doesn't make sense. It's very all over. Then you have Spider-Man setting a record. It's very, very strange and uneven. And like there was a trailer for Doctor Strange that I was like, oh, that looks pretty neat. I want to see that. Don't think I want to leave the house for that. But we've got the Top Gun sequel.
Yeah.
Like what is coming? Like I'll say this, and Lindsay, as you want to talk about how far back we go, Lindsay famously gave me business because I loved Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom sucked, but the trailer for this one's coming up has me fired up.
It's so funny. I'm like the exact. There's something about like that first. Like I love the opening with the dinosaurs. That was so cool. But then like they cut from a not. Then there's like two dinosaurs fighting, and it's like, is it the T-Rex versus the
Indominus?
Or something like that, but like, so the T-Rex dies, and then we cut to a T-Rex in modern times going on a rampage. I'm like, well, I don't care that it's going on a rampage because we just saw a T-Rex get killed. It's not a threat. Like, you're not building up this isn't how you build up tension. But that's just me.
The Jeff Goldblum line in this trailer is hysterical. Bigger. Why do they always go bigger?
Oh, you're talking about the full. That's right. There was a full trailer. I'm talking about the teaser. I forgot.
I'll go check out the teaser then. I'm intrigued now.
But I don't know. I'll always go watch something with dinosaurs. But other than the ending, I did not like Jurassic World. The last like 10 minutes are dope. But
I understand. I understand. And every time people say it's on the nose, I think I don't think it was on the nose. I think he was kind of mocking the fact that he had to put Sprint shit all over the place and I mean, granted, we've seen notes of his projected Rise of Skywalker, and looked pretty impressive. But
impressive before Rise of Skywalker came out, or did it look impressive in hindsight?
Well, yeah, in hindsight, sure. I mean, like listen, the notes and the images could have nothing to do with Trevorrow, and they had war. It was going to have war, and it was like, oh, war in the movie called Star Wars. That's neat. I like that idea.
Which is the Star Wars movie that opens with the title crawl? It's just like war, and then it kind of goes into the. Is that the third one?
That's
I think it was one of the prequels, right?
yeah.
So that's
It's either clones or
or Sith.
Sith.
Yeah. Well, as I'm looking right now, it is legitimately, as far as stuff hitting theaters, just to be reminded, it's lots of horror stuff, smaller things like Uma, which is produced by Sam Raimi. We have that to look forward to. XX is the.
I do want to see that.
It looks solid, yeah.
Is that a
definitely.
remake of the? I know something called XX.
Or maybe it's just X, because XX, the one that I believe you're thinking of, was the it was where all the different lady directors did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just X. It's just
okay.
X.
Yeah, it is just called X. You're correct. But yeah, stuff like Turning Red, which is going right to Disney Plus, that was originally supposed to be theatrical. So we still haven't really veered
we're
away
not out of the woods
from,
yet.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to try and say we are because a couple of movies have done big, but you can't.
Sony's gonna fuck up. So Sony's like, look, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
we're okay.
Yeah, well, it's these long anticipated movies, films that were announced before the pandemic even began, right? So you were not
high profile movies like Spider-Man and Batman. Like,
yeah, I guess The Lost City, which is the one with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. That's probably the next film that I think can make some decent money at the box office. That's not on the
trailer for that one. There's just like sudden Brad Pitt, like the entire trailer is
with his cameo.
just Brad Pitt. So I'm like, I'm down. It looks fun, sure, but
yeah, that's out on the 25th, so that's still a few weeks away. But that's really, as far as something with star power that people may actually want to go to a theater exclusively to see.
What about Morpheus? Morbius?
Oh yeah, that's April 1st. If
I'd watch the hell out of a movie called Morpheus. It's all about Morbius, on the other hand, I don't think that's going to do too much.
And if we had two different Morpheuses, so we had. Both
we're gonna get Lawrence Fishburne and the Yaya. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
But dude from Aquaman. Yeah, who was great.
I haven't seen Gucci, but I heard Jared Leto kind of chews a little bit. And
I didn't mind Gucci actually. It was long and it was very much like a vanity project in my estimation for Lady Gaga in a lot of ways. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, at least.
Is it Guns Akimbo? Dice?
Oh no, that came out last year. Daniel Radcliffe is the bad guy in the Lost City movie with sudden Brad Pitt and Channing Tatum.
Speaking of Radcliffe,
Akimbo's got the word gun and Daniel Radcliffe, so mine's closer.
Yeah, how about Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic though? That's interesting casting for me in this biopic that's coming out. So.
I love Daniel Radcliffe's post Harry Potter career. Like, one of my favorite movies ever is goddamn Swiss Army Man, and the directors of that have another movie coming out this year that I cannot wait for.
Is that the Everywhere All at Once, something like that? Everywhere All the Time All at Once, something like that. It's an
trailer with a singing raccoon. I'm so down.
So wait a minute. Our major May release is what now? Is it Doctor Strange?
I think that's in May. Sorry,
because there's always that right around the end of May that is like, all right, guys, seriously, it's summertime because this movie came out.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, Firestarter,
Twisted Masturbator.
Yeah, very excited for that. That's a dual release, though. I think that's also going to be on Peacock same day. So, Zac Efron, a little girl from the most recent season of American Horror Story, and she was terrific in that. It's like super creepy. So,
a
little more.
Bob's Burgers movie also comes out in May. Sorry, so that'll be something. Hopefully,
brace yourselves, everybody. Yeah.
And
I like Bob's Burgers.
June, July. I don't think. I guess Top Gun is what, July.
May. No, Top Gun's May.
What they have left for June and July then?
We do still have Sonic 2, as I was just double checking.
That ain't gonna make big bank. It'll make money, but
so that's April 8th.
Actually, I'm kind of excited for Sonic 2 to not do very well after the first one did so well, and everyone's like, "What do you mean?" Okay, calm down, Lindsay. I remember back when COVID first started, there was like all these discussions about like, "Oh, movies are in trouble." No, movies aren't in trouble. Like, no, movies are in trouble. Birds of Prey didn't do very good. Oh, no one cares about Birds of Prey. Sonic did amazing. I'm just gonna sit here and go like, "Yeah, guys, but Sonic 2 is not going to do very good because
with Tails too."
Yeah,
and Idris Elba,
and it's Knuckles. Yeah. Well, in April, it does look like just about every week we do have a little more of a high profile release, though. So starting with Morbius on the 1st, and then the second week is when we have Sonic 2. Third week is Fantastic Beasts, the third one.
I haven't watched any of those movies.
They're okay, I guess.
I guess it's your life. Do what you want to do with it, but I don't recommend. If you hadn't,
whatever I do, if I die during it, just make sure you said, "Guess who farted?"
I did the first one, a lot more than the second one, but that's not really saying a lot. So,
yeah,
the first one does have a couple of cute moments. I won't be too hard on it. The second one's where it really just goes off a cliff.
I had this idea to talk about the movies of recent time. Like, there's this cloud of
Atlas.
movies. There's this cloud of movies that are in that time, the Coronimoni time, and none of them really jump out. And it's kind of strange. And when I think about it, like, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm going to think about Spider-Man in 2 years as like, oh shit, yeah, that was the highest grossing opening weekend ever. I just don't. There's something weird about this time period that like nothing is jumping out. The last great movie that I saw and was like, that's all right. This is one that I'll be watching a couple times over and enjoying. That was and it won the Oscar. South Korean movie, man.
Oh, I will never forget that.
Vocab is gone. My memory, my I gotta get a neurologist to connect the lines back up.
So Parasite.
Parasite, yes, Parasite. Parasite's the last movie I watched and was like, wow, fucking wow.
Yeah, I've seen all the awards contenders, as you guys know. I always like to try to. So I watched Belfast, I watched Gucci, I watched even some of the foreign stuff like Worst Person in the World, which is a Swedish film. I have yet to watch Drive My Car, although I know it's on HBO Max now, which gets me excited. So I don't have to go use my A-list. I can see something big and derpy and stupid instead, which looks like a wiser use of my money to go to a theater and spend the time and everything. But I'm not as jazzed about really any of the big time nominees at the Oscars this particular year, like I have been in years past. I mean, aside from Coda, I still adore Coda on Apple TV Plus. It's about a deaf family where one member, which is the youngest daughter, she actually is not deaf, and it's making some sweeps at SAG and at the Independent Spirits, and so it feels like it's getting some momentum. But
do you have the Oscar list in front of you?
I don't.
I think this is the first.
We're going to save that for Chauncey for like another episode coming up because it's at the end of the month. But Power of the Dog is the other big favorite that everybody is talking about, the one with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's on Netflix, and I like Westerns, and I'm fine with slow burn, but I was moderately underwhelmed by that. Beautifully shot, though. It's from the director of The Piano. So great looking movie and solid performances, but I just didn't find the story as engaging. The ending is great. But yeah, nominations for Kirsten Dunst, for Benedict Cumberbatch. I think that has the most nominations of anybody. I think it's got like 10 or 12 different noms for the award.
I'm not sure, but I think this is the first time in my life that I have not seen any of the nominated films this late.
Wow.
And I don't think I have.
I've seen 2, Don't Look Up and Dune.
Oh, Don't Look Up. I've seen it. Yeah. Shit, so much. And I have seen Dune. Never mind.
Gotcha, CP. You're just as lame as I am.
I wasn't too big in the Don't Look Up, but then again, I mean,
It was okay, but
Yeah, it was just very okay. And
It's no Big Short.
no, not at all. And I even thought Vice was better personally.
yeah, Vice was good. I like Vice a lot.
Big Short's my favorite of McKay's, whatever.
I really interested article here where peeps were saying that they think McKay, the way that he approaches these controversial social topics, like it's a little more scathing maybe than is necessary, and it was coming from somebody at either THR, Deadline, or a publication that would be in line with his personal politics, but yet thought that he's not hitting the mark with his aspirations. I don't know. It was reactionary to that film specifically. But
yeah, I saw an interview Meryl Streep give about inspiration and playing her role. I don't think you can do incoherent, shitty president anymore. Like I think that is forever ruined. I just don't think you can get something like that done, because she felt like Sarah Palin is what she felt. Like
Mhm.
and Jonah Hill was okay. It was interesting to see DiCaprio in something where like I don't want to say he wasn't acting. I don't want to say he wasn't acting, but it just seems like he didn't have to work that hard during that movie, and it just felt mild. And I good for him. Good for him getting his little mild movie out.
I love the cast. Like, it was one of my favorite performances I've seen from Jennifer Lawrence. Timothy Chalamet was actually really fun in it. I feel like he needed more screen time,
kind of thing, which they didn't really focus on as much as I was hoping.
Oh, you kind of cut out for you. Can you say that one more time?
Just the little romance subplot with Chalamet and her. I felt it was a little underdeveloped personally. But
it was cute. Yeah, they should have given it a little more screen time. But there was like 18 million characters, and it just kind of. I feel like it was one of those things that just kind of buckled under its own weight. Like, there was so much good stuff in like the visuals. I loved how it kept cutting back and forth between us being just like stupid idiots and animals just living their lives in nature. I haven't really seen anything like that since like the weird Scarlett Johansson movie Lucy. Do you guys remember that? The one from the same guy that did
Scarlett? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So that was kind of fun, and like it kind of really kind of put a lot of weight on things, but just like it kept cutting back to the human characters, and I don't know, just something about it just didn't click for me. It's an odd movie. I've kind of wanted to watch it again so I can maybe like really put my finger on why I didn't dig it, but I also just haven't wanted to watch it again. So it's like, I don't know, it's a weird movie.
Which one? Wait, sorry, Skolder. Which one is Coda?
So Coda is an Apple TV Plus film that it originally premiered at Sundance, and then Apple purchased it. And it's very much a feel-good drama with a little bit of comedy here and there. The supporting father, who is the supporting actor in it, I know that he has won some awards already, and he is nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role. But it's about a family where everybody is deaf except for the youngest daughter, and she dreams of becoming a musician, which is very weird for a family that can't hear. And so, just the dichotomy there, it's masterfully done. It's funny, it's heartwarming. Once again, it's a feel good sort of situation. But I love Coda. I saw it back at Sundance like last January, so it's been a hot minute now. But yeah, definitely highly recommended. I'm still pulling for that movie, even if Power of the Dog has all the momentum right now, seemingly.
There's giving me heavy metal vibes, or no, the Sound of Metal vibes, based off what you just said. I love that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
A shout out to Trini and Jace. They recommended. I forgot the name of the movie. I know it's the guy who did Gook. He was. That's the title of the movie. I'm not. I can't. It's about a guy who has a record, and he's trying to pay for his. He's just trying to do the right thing by his girlfriend and her kid. And
2017, is that when it came out?
The G one, yes.
Yeah.
If you find the lead actor from that, you can get me the name of the new thing.
Justin Chong.
Blue Bayou, thank you, Trini. Not even close to the G word.
Oh, Blue Bayou. I watched that movie, man.
It's good, right?
Very good, actually.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of pissed that it just kind of came and went. I was like, oh, really? Nothing on that?
And
Nothing.
that was in theaters too, actually. And the ending of that film at the airport is just a
Mm.
killer of emotion. Very, very heavy stuff.
Alicia Vikander. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
And also, I mean, speaking of Sound of Metal, Riz Ahmed was in another very solid film that I think just
Rogue One.
well, it was supposed to be a theatrical film, and it went direct to streaming this past year. Oh boy, I think was it? No, it wasn't Flea.
He was just in Sound of Metal too, right? Just to keep singing that movie's praises.
Yeah. Well, Encounter, that's the film. So it's essentially a film about cloning, and so he has a terminal disease, and he's kind of wondering if he should put his consciousness into a clone, and that clone can continue living on with his wife and his family and stuff. And it was Amazon original, so that's where it ended up getting dumped as opposed to going theatrical. So yeah, I guess back to your guys' point, CP, is that we still haven't seen the studio system repaired. Like, we're still not completely back at it just yet. So many things are still, more so than anything, going to Netflix, going to Prime, going to Hulu, all these different streaming services. And the biggest tentpole stuff, these big budget, over the top bits of silliness are the ones that are, going to get people in the theaters.
Yeah, listen, people that want to watch shit explode, they're gonna be okay, because the dumb studios are just gonna keep making derpy duper explosion movies. But there's stuff like The Killing of Two Lovers, which I kind of kept in the back pocket and really hoped would have attention. Now it didn't.
Terrific movie. It
It
came
is
out
a terrific movie.
Yeah. It was so early in the year that stuff gets lost in the shuffle as you get later towards award season, I think, unfortunately.
But because of the current climate with movies, was I able to see something like the Killing of Two Lovers? And I'm so glad I did. I'm telling you, if we can somehow like naturally get back to the way of the experience of going to the video store and just gambling while you watch a movie, it would be really good. Oh, Jake, another one that Aubrey Plaza's in Black Bear, another movie that I thought was fantastic.
Anything Aubrey's in, whether she's funny or being dramatic, I mean, and the weird duality of that film and how it kind of spoiling
halfway through, you're like, what?
Really good movie. I think I know that's streaming somewhere as well, Amazon, Hulu, somewhere around there. So.
Yeah. I remember for the first 5 minutes or so, I was like, what's going on here? Are they in the middle of a movie? Okay. Okay. All right. Interesting. But that's 3 movies that I promise you 90% of people will not or don't want to watch. But if somebody just comes across it, you'd be surprised. Oh, Censor. I love that movie. About a female. She worked for what the British version of the MPA is in the 80s during the video nasties.
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. Listen, it's not it's not going to win awards and be considered the next Psycho, but it was a good experience. You'd be surprised what somebody who's just trying to put their mark on film and not having to do a thing with a certain actor or get a certain line in because that's what the studio wants. It's a nice change of pace.
And not to worry about having the product feature Papa John's or Bud Light or
exactly. Yeah, we can't have this line in it because actor C's got a sponsorship with their competitor, and we can't just fine. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess the point to the Batman themed episode is look around. You'd be surprised what catches on. Like this is how it used to be. We used to watch shit. Not everything would catch on, but sometimes you'd get surprised, and that's such a good feeling when you get surprised at a decent movie that nobody told you about. It's really fun.
You know what I did when I first moved to LA, when I was like had all these acting classes like all over the city and stuff.
Got
like
a headshot.
There's that too. But like I would take like one class in the morning out in the city, and then another class in the afternoon in Culver City, and I live in Altadena, and that's just like a huge triangle of driving. So after the first class, I just go and watch a movie, sometimes 2 movies, and then go to the third class. And it's just like I sometimes wouldn't even know what the movie was when I went into it. Okay, what's playing right now? Oh, I like Matt Damon. What's The Adjustment Bureau? And it was my favorite movie of the year. I miss the days of that I had the free time to do that, and maybe I'm just being nostalgic for that. But you'd be amazed what you can get sometimes when you just go to a movie theater and just see what's playing. You can see some good stuff.
One of my teachers in film school, Ian Fisher, who was a director, and
Ian Fisher.
Yeah, see exactly. Like from what I learned from him, I'm like, why don't people know about this guy? I asked him what, how do you get more knowledge? How do you this is, you could study so many different things, but movies is an art form and whatever. And he said, just watch movies, just watch as many as you can. And I felt like he was giving like this Yoda answer. And I'm like, what do you mean watch? I already watch movies. And I want to go back in time and be like, Dick, no, seriously, just watch as much as you can. You'll understand what it means. And, you have to watch about 600 movies after that question's asked before you're like, oh, okay.
It was also the old adage for screenwriters: you have to throw away 8 scripts before you finally know how to write one.
Oh, good call, Jake. Imagine if The Love Witch got nominated for Best Picture in 2016. That's a version of the Oscars I can get behind.
It's a beautiful looking movie. I will give it that. I didn't love The Love Witch, but I loved how throwback it was for sure.
If that got a Hollywood push, there would be big pushback against that from our friends on the internet.
Yeah, with the amount of nudity and everything. I mean, in the 70s.
Oh no, with the femininity, like the. Actually, you know what? That's not true. There was. No, I take it back. It's been a while since I watched it, but I thought that it would have been considered woke today. But the more I'm thinking about it, I'm wrong.
Good film. Speak it out, everybody.
Love Witch, Censor. You see, Felix has seen Censor.
Okay.
Watched Censor, rather liked it. It's good to hear, Felix. I hope it was me that told you that.
It was me.
Oh no, wait. That's exactly what Dice said. Felix just playing cut and paste. Sorry, Dice. All right. So we've officially passed the runtime of the Batman, and
we did.
Gotcha, man.
Wait, you have to remember, we started recording a little bit before we went live. So should we go another 3-4 minutes?
Should we count for trailers?
Yeah.
And just
and also wait to just see that little green couple of letters at the very end. That in the theater.
That's something I completely forgot. What was with the glowing green goop that our Pat was about, and he got all raged out? Is that the Bane stuff?
Like that, right?
It was Venom 100% in my estimation.
Okay.
But
they didn't explain it though, right?
They didn't explain it. It felt more like an Easter egg sort of situation. What a lot of people forget is that Venom was actually introduced originally before even Bane. There was a Batman comic. Cecil and I talked about this last night, and it was called Batman Venom, and it was the origin of that particular substance, getting him all raged out and ready to go. And there's some very iconic artwork. So that's not even them hinting at Bane in my estimation. That's just hinting at that stuff being there, and it felt like something that might not even be developed in the second film, but we'll see. So
I just thought that was just straight adrenaline he was just shooting up, but that's really
Neon
cool if
green?
that was Venom.
it was the color specifically that made me positive. It was
See
Venom.
that these movies with the member berries and like the little treats, we're making big budget fan fiction. And like Emily said, she was lost for most of the movie because of names, and like they expect you to like, have the compendium written down and all programmed into your system, and not everybody does. Like
Question:
even
have we said John Turturro yet tonight?
Oh my god!
no, we haven't.
I don't mean to interrupt, but it just
No,
clicked in my head. I
Go
don't think
ahead.
we said his name.
Go ahead.
First of all, I didn't know he was in this movie. So when
Me
he
neither.
showed up, I was like, oh, cool. And then he's a major player.
Mhm.
I loved it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I feel bad to derail you, but John Turturro, it was amazing.
John Turturro or Eric Roberts. How about that?
That's a hell of a two different Eric characters thing going on. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
No. It's just I don't know. I'll be talking about it again with Cody on his channel, who loved it. So I'm going to be the shithead, I guess. But I feel like there's something that I try to do every time going into a movie. I try to, unless it's a sequel, I try to go into the movie as dumb as possible. Very easy for me. And Emily does not have the backstory that we all do, and she's like, I was getting confused with the names and the Falcone and whatever, and I was listening to her, and I'm like, oh wait, the only reason I knew Falcone was because he was a character in the Nolan trilogy. They're sometimes they were a little too dependent on people just knowing.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's where even Catherine, my lady, she was feeling that when we were watching some of those original films, and then for whatever reason, like Batman Forever was her favorite, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's it was just the whole visual style. She loved what Schumacher did with it, and just the very rapid fire approach and the silliness and the glitziness and the lighting. I mean, she was all about it. So
the horny Nicole Kidman.
Jake, did I see Red Rocket, director of Florida Project? I love Tangerine.
I've heard great things about it. I haven't checked it out yet either.
Lindsay?
I'm just remembering Florida Project Tangerine. Like, so
have you seen Tangerine? Tangerine was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah, no, that's a dope movie.
Yeah, Red Rocket is about this guy who was a former porn star, and he goes back to his hometown, and he is just like a shithead schmuck of a person, and it's kind of darkly comedic from what I understand. And they get some Oscar consideration, it didn't, and so
that reminds me.
The trailer for that actually, that did look pretty good. Go ahead, CP.
That reminds me that I saw Zola. Is that it? About two strippers?
Yeah, I saw it too.
It gave me very faint Tangerine vibes, but I was just like,
oh, this movie.
It's I don't know. It felt like Spring Breakers.
I was just about to say I saw the trailer for that one too, and it gave me Spring Breakers vibes. So I wonder if that's becoming like a bit of a trend now, kind of Spring Breakers. That's interesting.
I think I've officially reached the point where I'm like, these kids today, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
We're old enough to shake our fists at kids on our damn lawns now, guys.
Back in my day, we used to have to figure out something to do. We didn't have a phone telling us where to go, and I don't know. All right, so let me see. Can I take the floor here for a second? I can. Sorry guys, I'm just going to be a second.
Very good.
Show business is it's not an abandoned project. It's not, you know, it's not something that is not happening. Personally, there's a shit ton going on. And I honestly, even if these guys, so I'll bring them back. I told them to go on without me. I did tell them to go on without me, and they wouldn't do it, which is sweet because I would do anything without you guys.
Fair. You're the face of the show, man. What am I? I'm just chopped liver over here.
Touche.
But
Not the beard. I'm nothing, man. Like,
yeah, it just doesn't feel right. I can't give you a specific when things are going to be okay. Like when I'm going to feel grounded enough to be comfortable to stream, and have it happen at a set time. I mean, when I was in Denmark, show business took a hiatus. It's actually when we went from Peter to Lindsay, and then we got Peter back a little bit. You know, show business alum are show business alum, which, you know, we saw Bob in the chat. Bob technically is a founding father of what you know is show business.
Hell yeah.
So it became a lot, to be honest with you. First of all, personally, I have so much shit going on, but it's hard. It's hard doing these shows because you got to link up so many different schedules. Sometimes somebody isn't able to go, and you know, it's just hard. Life is, you know, especially lately, life is just really hard for everybody to link up, and you know, especially considering the movies, there's but fuck all to really, you know, get fired up about, especially if you want to talk box office numbers. It's the longest time there wasn't shit to talk about. I read today that Uncharted is going to have an easy time going to second place this week with 10 million. I'm like, look out.
Very
Easy.
ambitious.
So there are so many different variables playing into it, but I was worn out, and I feel bad because Lindsay was probably the biggest cheerleader for this show, and I feel bad.
Between me and Fuego, Fuego was definitely like being reminiscent.
That's why I told you guys to keep going. I just wanted you all to know that it's hard. It's hard because even you guys in the chat, and you guys, you know, where show business, when's it coming back? It's hard because I have this complex about YouTube and what I'm doing, and you know, putting effort in, and you know, I when I do show business, when I do it right, I like having stats and pictures, and you know, having it be more than just a bunch of talking heads. And there's a point where I just stopped doing that, and I went from that to just like dreading doing these things, and what?
Oh, I just said, oh, like, you know.
Oh no, and you know, there was times where if somebody wouldn't be able to make it, I was like, all right, forget it, we're not doing it. And it was like just me giving myself a reason to not do the show. And again, there are many variables to that. It has nothing to do with co-hosts or anything like that. The process.
You would blame it on me if it was, like, without a moment of hesitation. Like,
you know, you loyals are loyal, and it's great. We've been doing this a very long time, and I feel like, you know, we're doing this for the same 40 people over and over again, and I'd like progression. I'm used to something where you do something, you try it differently. There's some sort of advancement and so on and so forth. Where this kind of feels like, we're doing the same thing and nothing is coming of it. We're not losing people. We're not gaining people. It's just us and 40 people that love us, and we love you. But it gets hard. It gets hard for me. It's the creative part in me that I don't know. I'm having a hard time mentally too. So you have to keep in mind that I have a disorder, neurological disorder, which has it mimics uh, the side effects or the symptoms of depression, which I do have clinical depression, but this neurological disorder, it's actually what Robin Williams ultimately took his own life for, uh, Lewy body dementia, and I can't put it into words where my mood is, and if I'm taking something too personally, or I'm just being weird, but my mojo just hasn't been there. um and the 1999 series is kind of that in point. uh I get asked that all the time, what to do with 1999, and it uh, it's nothing. It's nothing. I'm not saying anything about anybody personal, but it hurt. It hurt me when I put out the November episode, and it's not even at 200 views yet. Like I never thought I would be the YouTube guy who watches numbers, but I'm at a point where, like, I'd like to see some sort of fruits of the labor. And there's a bunch of people that support me, and I absolutely appreciate it. And I know you guys know what's going on here. So show business has kind of been the redheaded stepchild of my angst and displeasure. There are other elements which I really don't want to give credit to, because I think anybody with a brain who's watched the show uh, fairly enough knows exactly what I'm talking about. It got very, very, very real, and at that point, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I said, this is not worth any of this. And I love this. I really do love this, but sometimes it just hurts to do this. There are, and I'm not. I can't put my finger on any one reason. I love Lindsay. I love Fuego. I love Chauncey. I love Bob. I love Peter. If I could have some Justice League of show business, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I feel like we're not growing, and it hurts. It hurts me inside, and I don't know how to adjust that. Well, and especially now, I'm basically telling you right now that this is my last show from right here. I'm moving from here. I'm not saying show business is dead. I'm just saying this is my farewell stream from this location. So I don't know. My schedule will get really bumpy in 7 days. So I love you guys. I really do. I'll once again say it publicly, Lindsay, Fuego. If you guys want to keep the flame going, by all means, keep it up. And I'm not complaining about money. I just want to make that clear. But I've had a situation over the last year and a half. COVID didn't help me at all. My mental condition makes things worse. If you can't remember anything, it's hard for you to work on things. Where, I was pegging for the streaming service, and as much as we have great people that do super chats and things like that, but at the end of the day, show business was costing money, and I couldn't do that. We would skip meals certain times. Like, there was a point where I was measuring money in food, like, all right, 10 dinners, that's three $10, that's 3 dinners and maybe enough soda for 2 days. Like, it's really weird what was going on with me personally. Again, I'm not saying this to like to be woe is me or anything. I'm just telling you why we weren't around so long. It's hard. It's hard. All those different elements, and then you factor in the fact that I was pegging. I was losing money to do this. It didn't make it worth it for me. So, I mean, I have a handshake contract with these guys that we'd split. I would get half, and they would split the other half of profits. We've gotten nowhere close to that, and I mean that kills me too. I can barely keep the lights on. Well, and I can't. I literally can't keep the lights on. So, I don't know. I don't know what my point is. I don't know when we'll be back. Again, my torch bearers to screenwrite can certainly keep it going. If you really like the show, I really hate YouTube. I hate doing the YouTube game. Guys, I need you to share, tell people, that because we could do this for 30 people for so long.
It's hard. It's the hard part of art. You do it because you love it and it keeps you sane and it keeps you going and it makes everything else better. But then when it becomes hard, it's I've been there.
Yeah, and as somebody who's been at it for like 7 years with the horror show, like we've seen those moments of like exponential growth and then massive regression, and the peaks and valleys are rough, man. They really are. You want that consistency, and we're not really seeing it.
Wait, you're cutting out. You're cutting out.
Yeah, say that all one more time. You went robot for a second.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
You're good.
No. I was just saying that, the peaks and valleys are rough, and you want a constant uptick sort of situation. And I've had those, moments, and they've been, very consistent in certain times. And there's others where they haven't been. And it's like getting just discouraged is easy. As somebody personally who deals with mental health issues myself,
emotionally, it really does a number, right? Like it.
Yeah. Well, and not just that, especially when there's other factors within the world that play into it, and I'm definitely somebody who, when I find myself depressed about certain stuff, whether it's, creativity or work stuff or whatever, I shut people out, and I don't want to interact. I don't want to, get together with the horror show or my band or whatever. I have a weird, just trying to process and decompress sort of situation in those instances. And, I'm not trying to make excuses in those, situations either, but I can relate, man.
It's hard.
I really can. Most stuff. So,
yeah. And if I were at my best mentally, it might be different. I mean, I was a professional comedian. There was times where the drive was too far. I didn't want to do it. I remember there was a show I did in Scranton where it was a 3-hour drive. I fucking hated it. Not enough people showed up. And what happened with it was I was trying shit because I was getting paid anyway. I was trying shit that I wouldn't try like on any other night. And I actually had a joke that was created that I wrote on stage that night that was like, huh, all right, so you make something out of uh, a job that you really didn't want to do. And it taking when I was doing stand up regularly, you travel Thursday, you work Friday, Saturday, and the random Sunday, and then you go back Monday. And if you're not having fun making people laugh, it's it's fucking hard.
I always think of the Stephen King quote where they're like, "Isn't it funny that some guys who are some of the most hilarious you will meet, they have kind of an edge to them, so
Mhm.
to speak. It's almost like they're trying to compensate for whatever pain they're feeling within themselves." And we've talked about Robin Williams and
Yeah.
some of these like tortured comedic peeps before on the show. So
You
yeah.
always do seem to hear it about some of the better comedians that there's some dark stuff in their past or their history. And to my case at least, I know what shitty, like really shitty feels like. So, I know that feeling. I can get to a point to where I can mock it because I've already felt everything you could possibly feel about something. And going through all the motions, you figure out where actually if I wasn't me, that's pretty fucking funny. And you just, I mean, Gilbert Gottfried infamously did a joke way too soon after 9/11 about they had a Friars Club roast in September of 2001. And he said, sorry, he's late. He had a layover at the Empire State Building. And back then, he got shredded. But we're at a point now where eh, that that may not be as harmful. I mean, shit, a lot of people alive today don't even weren't alive that day. I don't know what my ultimate point here is, guys. I don't know. I don't know when the next time you'll see me is. If these guys want to keep going, I'm passing the torch, giving the blessing. But um,
I don't
it,
think there has to be a point, man. I mean, you were just speaking off the cuff and off the heart, and that's important
Definitely
stuff
from
to
the heart.
do. So
yeah,
That's these are the moments that are really interesting for creators, where you get like really down and honest and dirty with your, or I guess clean, I don't know, maybe dirty is not the right word, with your audience, and you kind of really break things down. And I feel like every big channel does it at some point or another. It's normal. It's the YouTube experience. It's what makes YouTube great, is the I don't want to say like the connection that you have with your audience, but like it kind of is that, because
oh,
like
absolutely. They're my
yeah,
family.
yeah,
I consider you guys family. It's not even a question. I mean, I've been all around the world and lived and slept with same house, not well, I guess, well, which shared space with people from all over the world, and never would have had that opportunity if it wasn't for YouTube. And it's something that I cherish. Um, is that what you're trying to say, Lindsay? Kind of.
I guess, like, because it's complicated, but what's cool about YouTube is like we're not. How do I guess I'm trying to touch on the parasocial relationship here. That's the nature of the beast here, but like it is more personal. It is a bit of a more of a connection with your audience at times, because just the frankness through which that we do these things, the fact that we're just sitting here right now just having a discussion off the top of my head. I mean, I'm reading my script right here and getting ready for the things I'm going to say next. Oh crap, I wasn't supposed to say that part out loud. But it's it's the earnestness and the honesty that I feel really breathes true on YouTube a lot of the time, and that's just what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
also to echo that, the whole live interaction with people, whether it's the three of us or everybody else who was tuning in, there is a little bit less to hide behind, I think, in comparison with just responding to a tweet and talking shit about
Right.
somebody's opinion about a movie or whatever.
Right.
It's much more a warts and all sort of situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have to actually interact and see somebody and be in that face-to-face sort of situation. It's not like being around somebody like things used to be, but the world has obviously changed in those regards and stuff. And so it is a relic of those remnants, though, I would say. So
some of my favorite people that I consider family members are good dudes. And, some great YouTubers are YouTubers. Like they are not what you watch in videos, and the upbeat hee-haw, I'm all about this, and getting excited about talking about fucking a new brand of orange soda, and like it's just I can't.
Don't you knock the orange soda tubers, bro. They're the real deal, okay?
Yo, Fanta Tube is the shit.
Better make money. Corporate sponsorship. Booyah.
I've been trying forever. Come on, Coke.
Yeah, vanilla Coke, that's your thing, right? Like,
Yeah. That is hard for me. I don't want to be phony as much as CP is just it really is Charles. It's me just I'm a little edgier, and I'm a little softer in areas too, where like sexually on stage I would tell some very, very over the line jokes. In real life, I'm not well versed sexually. Like I don't have a problem saying that. And every time I watch these movies where I have to talk about this person and that person and murder and eating shit and all this other stuff, and it's I personally, I'm like, I can't imagine any of this. But the character is that of somebody who, oh yeah, I could see this. I downloaded like 6 videos of this, and whatever. It's hard. It's I can't do the characterized version as much as I'd like to think I'm doing it. I'm not. I'm really not. And the problem with the characterization, the problem with YouTube, and I hate admitting it, is you've got to sell. And that, like, I don't want to be a salesman. I want to be a creator. I don't. My thing has always been, if you like it, come back. If you don't like it, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to, I wouldn't want to go to a comedy club because these poor schmucks in New York City, they have to hand out to get started. They have to hand out cards, like flyers, and they have to hand out a certain amount to get stage time. And to me, that's not worth it. I can't. Listen, I don't want to hand out flyers for fucking 5 hours to perform at your club where the people who are watching are just tourists, and they know you as the flyer guy, not the guy who's writing a sitcom. It's really hard to be a salesman. So I'm just emotionally and creatively, I'm really, really low. There's times where I feel really supercharged. There's times where I really feel on point. But life has not cooperated with either of those at the same time. And somebody commented the other day on one of the 99 videos, this is really good. Why are you such a small channel? And it's just like, that's what I have trouble sleeping about. But thank you.
Like that. That's like the actor equivalent of like, oh, you're an actor. Why haven't I seen you in anything?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just we're trying. So long story short, guys, I know there's fans of show business, and I know that those of you who love it tell us. I know that.
And we love you.
We do love you.
I'm bad at the heart, but I'm trying.
It's gonna take a little side action to restart my engine. I'm gonna need to turn somebody on that I haven't seen before. I'm at the equivalent of a middle-age crisis where I just bought a Corvette, and I just need to bang some hot chick. It doesn't matter if I marry her or whatever, but I just need new.
Yeah.
Just give me new and let me know where I stand. And I hate basically asking you guys to be salespeople, but if you ever get in a conversation with somebody who likes movies, just a link, or you don't have to send them the entire 2 hours or whatever. You could highlight a spot, and let people know. I'm sure we all done that. And Lindsay, you said it before. You don't want to be the king shark guy, but damned if that didn't fucking give you a big rise.
Oh no, I have no regrets about King Shark whatsoever.
Oh, of course, with a million views on one of those.
No reason.
Like, how do I keep making content? I don't
Yeah.
like. What do I like? An individual like one video that's like 10 seconds long. Here's the King Shark thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe when he does when James Gunn does the King Shark spin-off TV show, because he said that he has another character in mind that he wants to do a show after Peacemaker about. That's the opportune strike while the iron's hot sort of situation.
Dude, I will be such a rich boy if it's a King Shark
Dude,
series.
you got to do King Shark Ranked, King Shark Explained, things you didn't know about King Shark.
It was actually funny when we were watching Batman and Robin, myself and Catherine, and the fact that Bane in Batman and Robin only repeats one word at a time. She was like, "Oh, it reminds me of King Shark." And I was like, they should really throw together a video where it's just comparing and contrasting the two. They're both big and beefy and meaty idiots.
There it is, Lindsay.
There's a game that's supposed to be coming out, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, that has King Shark in it. I'm like, give me all that, but they pushed it back to 2023, so I'm like, fuck you guys. Come on. Sorry, that's our one F-bomb for the show. My bad.
I mean, Batman was allowed 2 fucks, right? So, there we go.
I missed that.
I don't remember a second fuck.
No, there were 2 in there. Yeah,
there was? Huh. I guess for every hour and a half, you get 1 fuck.
Yeah, that's the allotment. And it can't be in the context of sexuality. That is the one thing that they do not allow.
Fuego, I get this comment a bit about you, too, that... how well versed and educated you are about, like, if I've had stuff where, how does this guy have time to see all this stuff? And then the same questions, these questions, there's questions that people ask that I'm like, I know what you're saying, the thought feels good, but it kind of hurts the way you're putting it, where they're like, how come he isn't a bigger deal? And it's just like, dude, go tell your friends, like,
to watch every video he's ever made 5 times.
he's not a bigger deal because you're talking to me about him, and I know the guy. We're family. We eat together. You got to go to the neighbors and tell them about him. That's the thing.
Have you guys gotten to the point, by the way, yet where you just like those videos on your channel where it's like, oh god, I don't want someone who's new to my channel for this to be the video that they find? Dude, I've got a whole playlist that's called Old, with a descriptive of the quality on these is inconsistent.
I would delete them if they didn't. If you delete a video, it yanks your views off your channel. Yeah. I found out the hard way that I cost myself $14 by deleting a video the other week. And yeah, so it sucks. I have 1,000 videos, and of which that I'm proud of, I would say maybe 20, maybe.
I recently cut together an editing reel of all my YouTube stuff, and going through a lot of it. I was just like, oh, I can't use this. I can't use this. If I use this, I'm a bad person. I can't use this. It's like all stuff from basically the last 2 years and everything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's funny how much things evolve.
Yeah, that's like fine-tooth comb for a sizzle reel of any kind. If I mean, to just take all that into consideration. So,
artist struggle, right?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up on the chat. I didn't realize how much you guys were talking. My big goal, whenever I do something and make someone laugh, I've said it before, that if I can make one person laugh a day, I've done my job. Likewise, it's you know, when your head's somewhere else, it's really, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. Artist struggle, yes. Most of the people who talk shit online would not bring that same energy in person. Oh, trust me, I know.
Oh my god, I'd love to see like a live action debate with like, I guess I don't want to call out other YouTubers, but certain people that make certain content yelling at certain people whenever they open their mouths, if you know what I mean. Brie Larson haters.
I was like,
Yeah,
are you
just reaching back a little bit? Yeah, I remember.
Sorry, no, I'm not trying to. I'm just like, anyway. Sorry, bad joke on my part.
Yes, Dice. We're gonna have a new show, Dice. Dice is gonna educate me on sexual things like sounding, which, if you don't know what that is, look it up and then blame Dice.
All right, I've learned a long time ago not to do this, but what is sounding?
I was gonna say, I was wondering myself now.
I mean,
at least I heard sounding as opposed to thinking Loki was monkey, but you know, whatever, right? That's a couple decades of playing drums and just shooting myself in the foot.
I will let other people Google this as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you for putting that in my life. Or there's times where you have something really sincere here. There's times where
right. All right, I'll leave it be.
Emily knows far. Emily's a bit more. She goes to wide ends of the internet and explores, and she'll every now and again she'll show me something. I'm like, oh, where are you that you're looking at that? And I forgot what it was, but there was this thing a couple of weeks ago where something, I thought, oh, that doorknob is broken. She's like, that's to put in your ass. And I was like, oh.
So it's not broken.
Yeah, this knob is
who's opening doors with their ass? That's crazy.
That's skills, man. Shit, I mean, right?
I
thought docking was progressive, from my gay friends, but that's
I know you're not supposed to say this because it comes across as elitist, but people are really shallow. They want junk food. If you aren't clickbaiting or drama baiting, they don't show up. And that is the other thing that hurts. Yeah. If I spilled tea tomorrow, 1,000 views, maybe even live. And I don't want to do that.
I closed out 2021 doing a farewell video to a YouTuber that I loved who was retiring because a bunch of people were harassing her. It's sitting at 7,000 views right now. And I got a friend that's constantly like, yo, Lindsay, no, just go for the YouTube drama. No, that did so good for you. King Shark and YouTube drama. You got this. You got this. And I'm like, no.
It wears you down, man. It really is.
And I mean, it also seems disingenuous, at least for me personally, because it's like the equivalent of just covering the celebrity gossip. But I know a lot of people do very well with that. So, I mean, if you find a niche, sometimes that's where there's the personal confliction about do I or don't I? And yeah. So
no, I meant to. What was funny about that video was I meant to leave it unmonetized because I didn't want to make money off of it, but I actually just ended up making like $20 off it, so I took a friend lunch. Friend I hadn't seen in a while who also liked that YouTuber, so I was like, let's go celebrate them.
I mean, there's a name that's been mentioned to me far more times in the last 3 years than my ex-wife's name, and I've spilt tea quite a bit, and every now and again I'll get an update on the success of this person, and I'm like, what are you doing to me, man? What the fuck? I don't care. Like, please just let it go. A, and B, stop. People are frauds all over the place. There's people that are. It's just like who said it? Was it Jake? Yeah, well, Jake says people being shallow, being junk food, and that kind of works two ways. Like there's these scare shows where people like go into a house, and it's a house that hasn't been in existence for years, and they see a ghost, and suddenly there's a sound effect that
Convenient.
that somehow is there in person, and people eat it up, and it's like, guys, this is produced. What the fuck? But people love it, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, man, this is so easy. Why am I not doing it? Because like if this is all they want, like,
let them eat their cake then.
Yeah.
That's what actually
A
works.
whole genre of YouTube all cringe. Yep. Dice says you're welcome.
I'll see you in my dreams tonight, Dice, but not in the good way.
Wait, I can't click that. I can't show names. A certain female who does video celebrity drama.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Disguised as reviews. They do very well. Very unfortunate. I agree. That person couldn't explain to you what a wide angle lens is. I promise you. But
that person blocked me for quoting herself at herself. I was rather amused by that.
I was blocked because somebody told her that I watched her video, and I was like, sweetheart, I had never and I didn't have any intentions on adding you, so take it easy. And it took me like months to find out. I'm like, wait, I'm blocked by this person? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's always. I've had that happen to me a couple times where it's just like, oh, I can't look at. Oh, all right.
Wait, what is caking?
Oh God,
is caking a thing?
Is that more? I'm scared to Google it. Is that more from Dice?
I always just think of Cake Eater from the Mighty Ducks movies being used as an insult.
Right. Yeah. Oh, because I just made the joke about let them eat cake. That's
okay.
Okay. I hope so, because Dice has this face on, and
I'm sure somewhere on the internet there
makes me nervous. The caking community.
Or watch it's just people sitting on cakes, and then they're like, "Oh no, my butt has cake on it," and then the video ends.
And here we are. We're at Snyder Cut levels.
We are. That's why my lady keeps peeking in, and she's just like,
"All right." So.
Yeah, we're definitely longer than the Batman.
Right.
This is important stuff. I was like, come on.
Yeah, this isn't short story long. I don't know when we'll be back. I promise you we're not going to be back Monday, because I will be mid-transit Monday.
There's no big release either. I mean, April is when stuff seems to be kind of kicking back in if we feel interested,
right,
and available. So
yeah. And essentially, mentally, I'm down. Is the best way to put it. Emotionally, I'm down. Financially, I'm down. It's hard. It's hard to get up and do things, especially with all these different medications I'm on. I don't know if they're supposed to work yet or not, but I feel like a chemistry set, and none of it's really doing anything. But I actually have something to plug. so you guys can show off and
plug.
and let's get this video to 500 views by the middle of March. The final installment of 1999, the December episode, is coming either Wednesday or Thursday. Just keep an eye, because it's already scheduled. It's done. Patrons, you want it, you can watch it now. Let's spread the word. Or if not that, spread the word about another episode that you like, because that was one of my bigger ideas, and it took a chore to finish 12 episodes of that, where in the beginning I thought it was a neat thing that was going to be fun and exciting and lead to other stuff, and by now I'm just like, thank God it's over. Fuego, what do you got coming up?
Well, Cecil and I are going to be doing a review of Fresh, which is a new film on Hulu. Sebastian Stan, very entertaining horror dark comedy. And then having watched all of the recent Batman films, I have been kind of tinkering with either a ranking or maybe just some individual, very brief, like not full-on reviews, but just going back through thoughts on, everything from the Nolan stuff to, Burton and Schumacher and so on. But I know tomorrow also, I should really plug this for the horror show. I'm doing a anniversary review of The Lawnmower Man, which has a very strangely loose affiliation with Stephen King, so much so that he was sued. He sued the people who were making the movie after they had already optioned the right, because of the fact that he didn't like the film and thought it didn't resemble his original short story, which is not one of his best, by the way. So that's going to be going up on the horror show tomorrow. Fresh is on Wednesday. And then sometime this week is going to be some more Batman coverage on Infuegotainment. So.
Lindsay.
Yeah, I've actually got a big project I've been working on for a week and a half now or so. If you are a fan of the Netflix animated series Arcane, 2-3 months after the fact, I finally watched it. And there are not words for how much that I adore it. Even more than how, my adoration for that show is more crazy than how my hair is right now. Just to give you a sense of that, I've been working on it for like I said, a week and a half. Just on the intro alone, I've been doing a lot of crazy research into like the history of video games and stuff like that for it. So
that's awesome.
I'm excited for it. Like I said earlier, it's probably going to cap out at 80 views a year and a half from now. But I am excited to piece it together, and I'm having so much fun with it.
Sometimes just doing it for yourself is enough, and sometimes it isn't. But sometimes if like you're into it, that's awesome.
And I've seen how nuts people are about League of Legends. Like, don't they play that in like stadiums full of people?
Yeah, dude, there's channels
nature?
for like $1 million. I'm like, what am I doing with myself?
Yeah, I have friends who were crazy about League of Legends. They went from World of Warcraft and they graduated to League of Legends, and that was kind of how it went. But
yeah,
no, you know what's funny is you don't need to know anything about League of Legends, because I have played one game of League of Legends going into watching the show. And I've played 2 games since, just to be like, is that really what the game was like? Was it really that boring? Yeah, it is that boring, because it's not a good game. It's a great show.
Let me Chauncey, who could not join us. There's nothing wrong. Chauncey, just it was a short week.
She was busy and she hadn't seen Batman, so
yeah. So right, Chauncey,
and she loves the Texas Chainsaw, the new one on that.
Yeah. So go check
She's
out.
She's very adamant that she wants to talk about.
She
Texas
did
Chainsaw.
review it. She has a video on her channel, so please go check that out. Let me put my money where my mouth is. Lindsay, you had a podcast with Bob of Organized Chaos. Where can people see that?
That is on the channel for the podcast. I believe it's Bob can correct me. He's still here. I think it's just called the Organized Chaos podcast. Just on YouTube. If you look that up, you can find it. Let me just double check right now, so I'm not talking about my
Organized Chaos. That is that channel. Right there. Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right there. That channel. So it's just Organized Chaos is the name of the podcast.
Organized Chaos podcast. Yeah. If you look up Organized Chaos Productions is like the full name for his channels. If you look up
his YouTube channel.
Yeah. So if you're on YouTube and you look up Organized Chaos Productions podcast, it'll take you right there. It's just called the Organized Chaos Podcast, but just Googling that didn't take me right there. So, anywho.
And again,
good guy.
Yeah.
I've known him just as long as I've known CP, maybe like a month longer. It doesn't matter. He's a great dude. Go support him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, here I am asking people to spread the word, and it's just like, all right, bye. Same thing with Dice Rolling. You get 2 reviews for everything they do, and one's a things you may not heard, and one is a genuine review, and the production quality is there. So,
100%.
yes, Jake. Yes, the Bays Moi, Titan.
Oh, okay.
Are coming. We wanted to shoot Bays Moi here, but we had like a cold open scripted, but there's a lot of who would like that planned. Just when I'll be able to put it to print is the question. Everything is completely up in the air now. So thank you for joining us for a full 4th of a day.
The WILIscredia cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Take that, Snyder. All right, so we'll see you soon. I just can't tell you when. Bye, guys.
Peace
Love you
out.
all. Take care.
Indeed.
Sick fucking outro there, by the way. That little thing that looked gorgeous.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,